We're live.
Well, hello, everyone. Hey, you, it's been a while. Not much. How about you? What a great song that is. Oh,
What song is that?
been such a long, long time, and I really do miss your smile. I'm not talking about moving in, and I don't want to change your life. But there's a warm wind blowing, the stars are out, and I'd really love to see you tonight.
Oh, that's right. Who is that again?
I don't ask for promises, and you don't have to lie. That's a great song. Uh, is that Loggins and Messina or Seals and Crofts?
Ah,
Yeah, Seals and Crofts. Yeah.
I really want to see you tonight.
What a song. That's probably yacht rock now.
Yeah.
It's probably put under the banner of yacht rock because, like, people can't help but put music in a box.
They have to.
They have to do it, and it makes no sense at all.
I was
Oh,
watching a Lana Del Rey thing earlier where they were playing Lana Del Rey to a bunch of elderly people, like people in their 70s and 80s, with headphones on. Some of them started crying. They loved it so much.
oh,
Like
hey.
they were like, "You need to tell me young people are listening to it." It was video games. Remember that song? It was the first
I
one I heard
love
from
video
Lana.
games. That's what the first thing I ever heard from her.
Yeah. It's like nothing. It's just piano and her with endless reverb,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. Beautiful. I mean,
Beautiful stuff.
people love to talk stick about her, and I just don't understand it. I mean, I think she's an extraordinary artist. Is she
I
the
just,
greatest singer? No, she's not. Is she the greatest performer? Certainly not. But there's something so ethereal and beautiful and magical about what she does, and I love her. God, I love her. You love her, right?
you know that.
Yeah. Well, just making
Um,
sure.
she gave in one of her like special album releases. There was like a love heart pendant you'd get, and the fans very quickly figured out that if you twisted it was beautiful steel love heart or whatever. The fans figured out if you twisted the thingy that's connected to the heart, the insert would come out of the heart would break loose, and you'd be left with a little cocaine scoop through your
Ooh,
nose.
how 70s.
Mm.
Nathaniel's already hit us up with a $9.99 super sticker. Well, thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. He's been on an extended journey, and I've been doing other things. I guess his big reveal will happen sooner or later, and you'll have to wait for that. But it'll be worth the wait. He's been up to a lot of stuff. It's not like he's been sitting around doing nothing. I think you're going to be surprised and excited and exhilarated and all the adjectives you can possibly put in one sentence. I think.
I swear to God, anybody watching, I didn't tell Dirk to say that. I swear to God.
Hey, I'm the same way. I'm a big fan too. I'm your biggest fan. You kidding me? Absolutely. I can't wait to see it. And I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know what you're up to. They do not. And it's
Right.
going to be, like I said, put all the good adjectives in a box, and you're going to be ready for some wow. I think it's going to be great.
Well, you know how it is. It's like do it well or don't do it at all. You know.
Right.
And it's not like I have a day job waiting for me back in Venice, you know.
You're not I was just thinking, but
This
somebody
is my
said to
day
me,
job.
it's your day job. Somebody said to me, what does your friend do in Venice? It's like,
He
well,
drinks and smokes.
like, well, he's got a YouTube channel, and they're like, what else does he do? I'm like, well, he's got it's complicated, because some people can't think past the construct of like, that, okay, that's a hobby, and you collect watches. Okay, that's a thing. And well, what does he do for money and stuff? I'm like, okay, wait a second. So he's got the YouTube is now this thing where people are creating careers out of it, and they're actually making money off of AdSense and Google ads and all blah 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 and Patreon or whatever. Like, but what does he have to do for a job? Like, he does something you wish you were doing. How's that?
Well, this is it. I met up with Dave Moore, my old friend. He's a radio DJ here. And we were talking about that stuff. I was like, yeah, it's gone on a lot longer, but I keep pushing back the flights. I want to get everything I need done. I didn't want it to be like Vienna that time when I did 3 days. And then I was like, fuck, I need to go back. So, Dave was like, I said, there's no job waiting for me back there. It's like, Venice will still be there when I get back. It's not going anywhere. And he's like, yeah, this is your job. This is your job is to be sitting in this restaurant interviewing me right now, or going around the streets of Dublin in the rain or whatever.
Right. I really enjoyed your extended. It was so weird. You did that Galway night where you just walk on the streets in Galway.
Yeah, people loved that one.
It was great. It was. I just had I was like, oh, this is a night. And I just sat and watched it. And you met up with those lovely girls, and they were cute. And then, I haven't been to Galway since the 90s, probably. And I remember like, oh, wow, it still looks like Galway. It really, really does. And then a couple of days later, there was a guy on a travel channel, because everyone has a travel channel. And we'll talk about that later. Like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch, and I'm going to do a plug here for a channel. I think I'm going to only watch Vicarious Voyager, because he's
Is he still around?
He is, but he's got a day job, so therefore he treats his channel as something, secondary. Yeah. But meanwhile, it's the best one in the business. I'm so tired of airplane seat tours and loo reviews, and everybody's doing the same fucking thing, to the point where next time I'm on a flight and I see a guy walking around the cabin with a camera, I'm going to punch him in the face because I'm so sick of it. It's so boring.
That could be me.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. No one would see you do it, because I would imagine that these people, you see people eating and their faces are blurred out. That's so intrusive, especially if you're in a premium cabin and there's some guy with a tripod and doing his thing. That must be so annoying. And I'm wondering, when are the airlines going to say, hey, enough, stop.
Enough of this.
Yeah, because the other day, we love premium everything, but Air France, La Première, that's probably the zenith of it all, right? And this guy had his dolly and tripod out as 4 seats in that cabin, and it's the most luxurious. Everything's Givenchy, and it's super, super cunty and fun and all that stuff. And I'm like, if I paid $25,000 to be this guy next to you, I'd be like, hey, could you tell that guy to cut that shit out? Because I want to enjoy my Givenchy and my whatever cuisine I'm getting from Paris. It just seems so stupid. But Vicarious Voyager is the only guy, but that's it's a secondary job to him. He's got some other job. I think we determined he is in some kind of tech world, sales.
Yeah, he's in IT, I think.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Because
Alan
he's great.
Philpott, €10. Thank you, Alan. Did you have a question, Alan? That can happen.
Yeah. We haven't been on for a while, but we've been waiting.
Tim is in the room.
Hey, Timmy.
I miss Timmy.
Oh, I've been watching Timmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always watched him. I always stick in there for a little bit. Hey, Bob Sacamano, look what he said he got. Hey, Dirk, I got me some YSL M7. Hey, Bob, what did you pay for it? Can I ask you? And where did you get it from?
So anybody who's watching, that's Yves Saint Laurent M7. It's a discontinued fragrance. We
talked about that on this channel, but also on the Watch Fashion Police.
Surely it's like really limited now at this point, because it's no longer making. It's like a discontinued watch or something.
It's anywhere from. I've seen, I bought 2 of them online and they were both counterfeits. So I'm hoping that yours isn't. If you want, you could send us like a PM, and you should show me a pic of the bottle. It's about $800 now if you can find an original formula. There's 2 formulations, the first one, the second one. The second one is cheaper, but that's so rare too. So, and then there's a newer one that's also been discontinued, called Oud Absolu, and that's nowhere near what the other one was. But hey, that's great, man, that you got that, and I'm very excited for you. I have about a quarter of an inch left of my original formula, and I almost never wear it because I'm afraid to see it go.
Nathaniel said there are not many nicer things than cycling on cliffs over the ocean in Galway at sunset. Well, I did a lot of cycling near a lot of cliffs, not over the cliff, alongside a lot of cliffs that, like, you'll see there's a lot of footage. It's 1.2 terabytes of footage so far and counting. Biggest one so far by a mile.
That's why you're looking so healthy and fit.
I'm not, dude. This is the problem. Once I come to Ireland, first of all, I'm doing the chowder thing, so I'm eating bloody cream every day. Such a bad idea. And then, you know what? I love a good pint of Guinness, but it doesn't love me back.
It doesn't love anybody back.
Yeah. So it's like creating a tire around my midsection and my neck.
I'm now at the point where I can have I'll have one Guinness to raise the glass, and then I'll move on, because I can't have more than one pint of the black stuff. I can't do it. It's just too thick and heavy and blah. Even though it's not high in alcohol, it's just heavy.
Yeah.
It's good for you're trying to send nutrients in utero, because pregnant women love to have a pint of Guinness in Ireland, as they should.
My ma was given Guinness in the hospital.
They all were.
Yeah, years ago, they would give Guinness because it was good for you.
Right, and that's the slogan, kids. The Pelican with the big pint, and it says, Guinness is good for you. That was the slogan back in the day. I mean, the billboards were on O'Connell Street. They were everywhere you go. I love the old Guinness ad, the tin advertisements with the big Pelican. They were art, beautiful, beautiful art.
I'm just pulling that up right now. I'm like, on system settings. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Google Chrome. There we go.
StreamYard has some new settings that we have to deal with. Updates are great, aren't they?
I can't do it because it wants to shut down Chrome. Can you do it? Can you pull up the Guinness is good for you?
Sure. Give me a second.
And while you're at it, pull up a photo of Russell Brand just so we have reference, because we have to talk about Russell. I know that was all kind of a week ago. We have to talk about it. Let's see, the Guinness is good for you.
I'm trying to find a nice one. There's so many great ones. Oh man, look at how don't look at
it. The Pelican is great, though. You're right about the Pelican.
I love the Pelican. It's funny because all the ones that I'm saying about Guinness is good for you, the Pelican's not on. It goes to show you how the brain works.
Yeah, that's there's a terminology for that.
Right. All the ones.
Nelson Mandela syndrome. Mandela syndrome.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because they figured out that most people thought Mandela was already dead when he wasn't. And there are many things we remember. It's like beam me up, Scotty. And that was never said.
Oh.
Right? Once you click on one, it pulls up a new page. You have to share that.
Yeah.
Unless you share the whole window. Anyway, these are the ads, guys. Guinness is good for you. Look, you could see some of them, or just zoom in, dude.
They actually just. I'll get to the real one.
Yeah.
I'll find a real one.
Anyway, yeah, it was a thing. They used to give it to women like after.
I'll get the Pelican.
Or when you gave blood, I don't know if they still do it now, but in New York, you give blood, they give you a donut, right? Because of the sugar.
Right.
They give you a donut. Whereas in Ireland, they give a lot of people Guinness if you're of age, of course.
Wow. Lovely day for a Guinness. And that was the mascot. But in my brain, I remember the slogan, Guinness is good for you with the Pelican, but it never.
Guinness is good for you was the guy delivering. He was like a milkman, but he looked like a milkman delivering pints.
Yeah, I'll get you that.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I got it right here. Hold on. One moment, please.
Mind you,
they changed all these settings there. Look at that.
I've seen 400,000 variations of this in the past month because, of course, I'm going around bars all around the country. and filming the beautiful old signs on the walls in the pubs. Like some of them are pure art, and they have that gorgeous patina, like they're original. There you go. After work is Guinness time. Like, but that
Great
was the
stuff.
me days.
Really
Yes.
good. And then the lovely day for Guinness. I don't like the way that StreamYard has changed that around a little bit. It's a little confusing. We'll have to get used to it, but it's okay. We will eventually. This is a nice one. That's nice.
Yeah. Still haven't found a Guinness is good for you. You got to pull that up, otherwise they won't think that we're telling the truth.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You can do a zoom though, and whenever you can pull up.
I got it.
Like,
I got it.
We've got the whole page there with price and everything. Here I am micromanaging you again.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Russell Brand. I mean, we have to touch off it. Why not? It was funny because I've heard all the angles now. There you go. Guinness is good. That's exactly the one you've been looking for.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Why was it a pelican?
I don't know. Because
How is a
pelicans are all over Dublin.
I mean, we have the puffin out on the west coast.
Yeah, puffins.
You know what that is? A little puffin.
Yeah, the distant relative of the tiffin. So let me get a picture of Mr. Brand while we're at it.
You know, I heard all sorts of conspiracy about. I mean, first of all, there's the first layer, okay, and that is the top layer, which is the evident one, the one the mainstream are running, and that is he's an abuser, he's a womanizer. We all know he's a womanizer.
Yeah.
God, you picked a really good picture of him there because he looks.
I did that
evil.
on purpose. Well, I mean, he is a beady-eyed, fugly dude. You know, the guy's gotten laid strictly for his unusual personality and deep, intense thought processes.
You don't think he's handsome? I think he's
oh,
handsome.
Jesus, no.
Really?
No, God, no. I think he's amongst the ugliest of fellas.
Wow.
Yeah, I just think he looks like a crazy Jesus.
Crazy Jesus.
Jesus was insane.
Yeah,
No.
Jesus kind of lost it. Jesus went on a weird acid trip. And came
Welcome
off,
to me flock. Yeah, no. Yeah.
So the top layer is this. It's the official story. The guy's an abuser, he raped girls, whatever. Okay. The next layer down is he's being attacked because now he's speaking truth. He's talking about COVID. He's talking about the jab, the vaccination, and so on. He's talking about how big pharma made money, and he's also talking about what else is he talking about? Yeah, the military-industrial complex. He's been on about that forever.
Yeah, he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, and he's all about the freedom of speech.
Yeah, COVID,
and that's why they're finally going after him. Like, why did they wait so long? Why didn't these women go to the police instead of going to some fucking, to the Guardian or wherever they went, to Channel 4 or whatever? And then the next level down, I just heard the other night because I was out with my cousin, and he's like, no, he knew he was going to be targeted, and that's why he warmed himself up to the alt-right. Because that guy was not an alt-right guy forever. He was all about meditation and free thought, but he wasn't. I thought he had disdain for the right. So of late, it's funny because only a few months ago I mentioned to my brother, like, wow, do you remember we used to love this guy? We went to see him live. Myself and Emmett and Dana, we all went to see Russell Brand live, the stand-up comedy show, about, I don't know, 12 years ago or something, or more, 15 years ago. And it was fantastic. It was a wonderful show. The guy's really, really good. But I was like, Emmett, like, well, where's he gone now? Like, this guy is shilling fucking supplements online, and he's talking about, how I mean, he's like 2 steps away from becoming the new Alex Jones.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to make a quick correction because everyone is coming after us, and I apologize, and I'm sure Sheen will too. Of course, it's a toucan, not a pelican. But we're in our 50s, guys, and that shit happens.
What are you referring to?
The bird in the Guinness ad is a toucan. It's not a
It's
pelican.
a toucan. Yeah, okay.
And Nathaniel says, sorry to interject, but they're going crazy on the right. You're supposed to drink toucans. That's the mascot. Didn't know that.
Didn't know that either. You're supposed to drink at least 2 cans of Guinness.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt that, but you are correct. Alex Jones. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, anybody watching, I forgot to put out this. I know I've been offline for a while. Anybody watching on the Oisin O'Malley channel, this is an episode of Eye Bashers. If you're waiting for watch content, you're going to be sorely disappointed because we don't talk about watches on this show. We're just going out live. We could, because, you know, Dirk is also into watches as well. Sometimes it does happen, but we're here to just have a regular chat. It's also not the fashion police. Usually is a much more attractive person. Sorry, Dirk. You're a handsome fellow, but
I hear
pale
you.
In comparison.
We're not Michaela.
We're not Michaela.
We are not.
That's usually below this.
But boy, if I was
like Handy.
If I could just be here for one day, John Hamm, come on over.
Oh yeah, she could. Yeah,
because he'd be like, "Yes, please."
Of course. So we don't have that. This is just 2 middle-aged men scoffing at the world. That's basically what you're looking at. It's called the Eye Bashers, all right, just so you guys know. Actually, we have aforementioned in the room. There she is. Michaela is watching.
Oh.
Is that one picture of Charles Manson? Yeah, he does have a little bit of Charles Manson crazy eye. You're right.
He looks like Charles Manson, dude.
You're right. Michaela.
Listen, you know, like I just watched them. I'm going to digress, but I'll come back. I promise you. But that's my shtick, right?
Yeah.
So there's a new program on Apple TV, and it's called The Supermodels. Now, when you talk about supermodels, for me, there's all the great models of the world. There's the Janice Dickinsons and the Twiggies and the Imans and all that stuff. But the supermodels are Christy and Cindy and Linda Evangelista and Naomi Campbell. That's the ones. And that's what the show is about. Right. And
is that the one where they're all sitting around talking?
No, it's a documentary about
okay.
About all of them, about you know, about beauty and what beauty is, and you know, like where beauty's gone. Like as a gay dude. Like, I look at those girls and I'm just like, I look at a Linda Evangelista, who I think is the most outrageous creature I've ever seen in my entire life. She's so gorgeous. Not saying sexy. Sexy is different from beautiful. Like, you know, like I like the bin man, whereas, you know, like I think John Hamm's a very handsome guy, but the sex thing's off the table. I think the bin man is sexier, whereas Linda Evangelista doesn't look like a sex object to me, but like, you know, some skanky broad in the pub might be, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I can see what crazy girls see about Russell Brand. He's dangerous and he's a bit dirty, and there's like, it's a dangerous night, and it's like, you know, girls who love the bad boy. But man, that guy's so fucking ugly, though. I mean, not a good looking guy, but you know. As a person that, you know, is like, would be, I'm not in the market, but if I had been in the market, I'd just see, God, is he fugly? I don't know what it is. Is it the smarts? Because I don't think, I've watched his show and I can't bear him. I personally cannot bear him as a person. He talks too much. I don't find it all. He's opinionated in a way that I don't enjoy. And, maybe it's because I disagree with a lot of his stuff, but the rambly guys, like that guy you like, I don't want to talk about him because he's a YouTuber and he's brilliant and blah, blah, blah. But that guy that you watch, I can't take more than 5 minutes of people who almost pontificate. It's almost like a pontification, whereas I much prefer somebody just give me their opinion and we can have a go.
You talking about Philip DeFranco?
No, I'm talking about somebody like that.
someone else like that. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think a guy like that is not, but Philip DeFranco is certainly not telling you his opinion. He's just reading the news very
Right.
fast.
Very, very fast. It's
Uh,
insufferable after a few minutes, but you get the headlines.
You get the headlines. Now, who's the fart from BBC News that is polarizing, and he had his own show here for a while. His friends with Russell Brand and Sharon Osbourne. What's his name? Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan.
Okay. Now here's a guy that normally I'd like to have a fist fight with him at the pub. However, every once in a blue moon, I totally agree with what that guy has to say. And he's been very, very fair.
That can happen.
Very fair. Well, I feel the same way about Matt Walsh and the Orthodox guy.
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. I agree with a couple of things that they say. Sure. But I find that there's an insidious kind of like Trojan horse with those fellas, you know, that you have to be worried about. Russell Brand, I don't feel that way. I just think he's just a loudmouth who's going on bender. But Piers Morgan has been very measured when it comes to Russell Brand. And I don't know if he likes him, if they're friends, but he read the Magna Carta the other day.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and it was like he read the part of the Magna Carta that said, you know, we shall not punish or ostracize or, put on an island anybody who has been suspected of before the. It was brilliant journalism from a guy that I normally don't like, because
he makes a very good point. It's like,
he does.
It's like everybody's coming to a conclusion, like Royal Monocle. It would seem €5. Thanks, Royal. Brand is a danger to him and not the establishment. No clauses in his contract stipulating they can't be trusted alone with the establishment. Okay, so you're going for that first layer, and that's okay. That might be the one.
Yeah.
It's just, in this day and age, it's so hard to know who's telling the truth and who isn't.
It is, because everybody's got a fucking microphone and a camera, including us. Hey.
Thank you, Nathaniel, for that clarification.
I'll be back.
Carolyn Martin's coming. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, Carolyn's. Thank you so much for $50. No need for that. Thank you, Carolyn. You're the best. This is not a watch channel, but stick around. You will not be disappointed. Thanks for the vote of confidence and the $50, Carolyn. You're the best. Yeah, you're going for the upper layer there. What was his name? Royal. I wish, I know this sounds insensitive, and it probably is. It is. It's not probably, it definitely is. But if you're a woman and you are sexually assaulted, can you not wait 15 years? Like, I know it's hard and you have to come to terms with it and it's hurtful. Can you wait? Like, if you need time to get your head around it, wait. Take a year, take 2. Don't take 15 years and then go to, TMZ or Channel 4. Take a year or 2 and go to the police, because it's a police matter. This is the thing. So and just when Brand starts hitting, he's on Bill Maher and he's like, I brought some facts, and he starts talking about all of this stuff. And then he goes on Joe Rogan and he's saying the same stuff. And just as he does it, lo and behold, all the shit hits the fan. Could it be a coincidence? Sure, of course. Is he a predator? If he is, then it's just, that was the timing. But man, oh man, I just wish, if my watches get robbed, I'm going to report it to the cops within a few days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Dirk, I'm probably like digging my own fucking hole here. But I'm just saying, like, don't wait 10, 15 years to report. If you're a little kid, obviously it's different. Children have to come to terms and they grow up and they mature, and then they probably go, oh my God, like I never thought about this, but I think my uncle touched me when I was a kid. Or, you have to kind of come to terms with something that you couldn't understand when you were a child. That's different.
Times have changed. thoughts have changed. Like we've discussed this ad nauseum. You know, it used to be a time when you had your first menstrual cycle, you were ready for marriage and children, and then the Victorian era, and then the modern era, and now we're in this new kind of Victorian age where, listen, of course, pedophiles are creeps and they should go to jail and they should actually be burned to death, in my opinion. But like, I'll give you for example, and I think I might have said this once before, but for the audience that are listening now. When I was a little boy, we had a neighbor and he was Greek and he lived alone and his name was Jimmy. Jimmy always used to give us candies and stuff like that. And one day he asked me, he said, "Hey, come on inside." And I went inside and he gave me some candy and he says, "You're a good boy." And he gave me a $5 bill and I left. And I came home and my father saw the $5 bill. He said, "Where did you get that?" And I said, "I got it from Jimmy next door." My father went next door and beat the shit out of him.
Wow.
Jimmy didn't do anything. Jimmy didn't touch me. Like, I was a cute little thing and nobody ever touched me. I'm lucky. I was never nothing. An altar boy, went through the whole Catholic system, never a thing. And my father beat the shit out of him. And I felt terrible. About a year later, he moved away. Not even, maybe he just disappeared. People have preconceived notions about people. Now, guys like Russell Brand, now we're watching all the memes and all the footage from years ago when he's very touchy-feely and seems to be overtly amorous towards beautiful girls. And, listen, if you watch Mad Men and watch Don Draper and watch Roger Sterling and you see the way people used to, what those women had to go through in that day, there was two mindsets. Was Mr. Draper, oh, Mr. Sterling, or girls who, felt victimized and, like Joni never really took it well when people ogled her. She didn't. And Matthew Weiner, the creator of Mad Men, really, I think he showed very, very well how Peggy and Joni didn't really take very well, but then there were other girls in the office who used it to their advantage, like Megan, who married her boss, and that there are two, and that's true today. There are people that will use what is the Pat Benatar song? "Don't use sex as a weapon." Women have been using it as a weapon for years because you know why? We're men and we're idiots. We're cavemen. No matter how smart or beautiful or handsome or whatever, men are still sexually kind of predatory in a way innately. When they see
who was it who said, it was some intellectual, was it Salman Rushdie or Chris Hitchens or someone, that even the most mentally powerful of men and intellectual of men are reduced to almost boys in the presence of female beauty.
I believe that that's true.
Yeah.
And the beautiful Carolyn Martin. Hi, Carolyn. Dirk, your father knew what the second visit might mean for you. Yeah. Okay, so
that's a really good
point well taken. I mean,
he got ahead of the problem before it was a problem. Yeah.
Listen, I've seen it all, drink it, smoke it, fuck it. I've heard the whole thing my whole life. Nothing surprises me much, but as a street smart New Yorker, I've always figured out the way to get out of the situation that doesn't feel right. My spidey sense has always been pretty good. But when you're a little kid or you're, a woman on a job interview or you're meeting a very big celebrity, I guess you give people the benefit of the doubt. And maybe it's true. Maybe he had predatory ways. He was also on a lot of drugs back in the day. And who knows? I think he's creepy to begin with. Do I think he's a sexual predator? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Watch ladies in the room. Hello, are we still talking Russell Brand? I worked on a TV series with him.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're talking about him because we haven't spoken about it because we haven't been doing iBashers a whole lot lately. We would have, had we been doing it last week when it was hot news, we would have spoken about it then. But I figure it would be remiss if we didn't speak about it. So, and you're getting our take on it, whether, maybe if that means anything to you. If you worked on a TV series with him, I don't know. What's your opinion on Watch Ladies? Good, bad? Was he a pain in the ass? Is it all a shtick? Was it just something for the cameras? Hitting on the ladies constantly? Or was it just him revealing a bit of his real life? Or was he trying to normalize the idea of his predatory behavior. What do you think?
I'd love to hear that, old watch lady. I'd love to hear what insight you might have. And considering you're so mysterious and anonymous, I think a good story would work great right now. You know, also, here's another thing. When you meet somebody for the first time, it's different if you're in a pub and you've been drinking and they've been drinking, regardless if they're a man, woman, whatever they are, whatever their preferred pronouns might be. There is a certain kind of decorum that I think is lost these days. In general, politeness, sensitivity. We're also petrified. The opposite end of the spectrum is that we're all petrified that we're going to come off as this, that, or the other, you know, which disables your ability to be yourself. So I don't even know how, thank God, you know, I've been in a relationship for 800 years and I'm not, you know, looking for that. How people meet each other now with the way social media is set up, with the way everything is done. I'm curious about believability. I'm curious about, does everybody vet everybody to the umpteenth, you know, possibility now? Do they do that? Like, it used to be like, you know, I met Paul in the toilet of a fucking bar. You know, I was like, hey, what's up? You know, and that was it. And that's 34 years later, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, you know, just two ships passing in the night, and you know, and a life together was born. Now it's like swiping, and where did this guy go to school? And oh my God, he knows, how many friends does he know that I know? How many? Oh my God, he knows Jen, and he knows Marge, and he knows oh my God, he knows Susan. I hate Susan. Oh my God, there's so many things now that you could do.
We all hate Susan.
Who doesn't fucking hate Susan? Fuck, she's a twat. You know, it's getting to the point where, can you take anyone at face value anymore? That's the question, kids. Can we take anyone at face value? Can you meet somebody, have a attraction, which is the catalyst, the science, right? The chemistry, right? That happens first, right? Which it used to be like, I'm in the jungle, bang, and then move on to the next one. Do you have that? And can you then have the follow-up conversation with somebody that intrigues you, titillates you, or makes you say, oh, thanks so much, but forgive me, there's my car, and you're out of there? Can you do that anymore without all of the ridiculous amounts of research and spying and vetting that goes on? I'm so grateful, and I hope we stay alive and I never have to be back in that situation. But, you know, I know you're not actively looking, you're a single guy, but I know that you don't in any way, shape, or form do any of that, because, you know, it's not a thing for you.
Oh, what, for Tinder and swiping and all of that? No, I wouldn't have the first clue. No, I mean, I don't even.
You certainly have the acumen for it, but you choose not to. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I don't know how to do that. You could figure that out in a minute, but you just don't want to, because it's weird.
It's weird to me. I'm old school.
It's so weird.
I've never done a dating site. I did it once, not for me. I did it for my friend, Francesca. She was going out with a guy she met on a dating site, and she wanted to see if he was still answering to other girls. Dating, right? So she was getting jealous already, and she was like, "Can you do me a favor and like pretend, like sign up and pretend you're a girl?" So I said, "Okay, I'll do it for you, darling." So I signed up. That was the only time I ever did that shit, because I wouldn't do it for me. I'm like, I mean, what am I gonna write it by?
What you just said is so 100% accurate, because as a barman and friend of the girls, you know, as a GFF, you know, gay friend forever, you know, lots of girls trust me and like, can you do this? Can you research this guy? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like way more of a bro than I am that guy, you know? And I just listen to that and I go, oh God, that must be so shitty for them. And it makes me really feel for them, because listen, it is really dangerous to be a girl now because there are so many there's always been creeps. Let's not pretend there hasn't been. But there's so many kind of catfishy ways, and you can make up shit online, and you can do all. I mean, and Bob Sacamano, back to him, he says, I fail to understand why a woman would risk being in the loan company of a person like Brand. Where is the accountability? Well, because he's famous. And because other people also want a piece of fame. This is since the dawn of celebrity. Everybody, he made it on her tailcoat.
Trump said it.
Trump said it.
Not in the way a president should. It was disgraceful. But it doesn't mean that what he said is not true.
Sure.
When you're famous, you can grab them by the blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, there was truth in what he said. He shouldn't have fucking said it. It sounded like a fucking 12-year-old boy.
I swore that was the end of his campaign when that came out. I was convinced.
Me too.
I mean, what do you, can we talk about what you're wearing right now?
The watch?
Yeah.
It's the Tudor.
Oh.
We're wearing the shit out of this. Two-tone.
It really has a beautiful wrist presence on you.
Yeah, it does. Tudor suits me a lot.
And I'm so stupid about Tudor. I couldn't, off the top of my head, I would not have known what that was.
It's a chronograph.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah, and it's yeah.
Is that 43?
I was at a it's 40. Jesus, I think it's 41, but it wears like a 42 or 43.
It looks like, substantial.
Yeah, it's decent, yeah.
Beautiful. See, we
I was
talk
at
about
a Tudor
watches.
event last night. I was invited to a Tudor event here.
Wow. In Ireland.
In Ireland. You want to see the watch scene in Dublin. You wouldn't believe it. It's exploding.
What are they wearing?
Exploding. They're wearing all sorts of everything, man. I went into Weir's, which is their famous store here. The old one that's kind of had the monopoly for so long. And they had Nathaniel's watch in there. Extremely rare. The gold Speedy with the Panda gold dial in full gold. Amazing. There are people buying Pateks. There are people buying Rolex. There's money in this country.
Oh my God, it's the biggest economy in all of Europe right now. Number one. And brutally, you and I both went through when you were going to, you're planning your stages, how expensive the Shelburne is. And we all know the Shelburne is a beautiful old hotel on St. Stephen's Green, right in the heart of Dublin, like where everybody wants to be. And it's like my family's favorite. My sister lives there when she goes. It's like $1,000 a night. It's outrageous.
There's money in this.
Outrageous.
Oh, here's Old Watch Lady. She typed in her.
Ooh.
Actually, two different series. I'm not a fan, but Girls in Production absolutely wanted to be noticed by him. There are plenty of other male comics that need to be called out around the same time. Look at that.
Wow. Comedians are a funny brood. There's like insecurity and insanity. And I just watched a documentary on Robin Williams, who, was brilliant, obviously, but he had that manic side and when he goes too manic, I can't watch him. I don't think he was a particularly sexually forward person. I think he was more of a cocaine forward person. But look what happened to Louis C.K. and, all these other cats, and Louis C.K. is also about as unattractive a man as possible. I mean, he's pretty unattractive.
As possible. I mean, he's forward about that. Look at this. Keselina, I haven't seen you before. I assume you're female of the gentler sex. If I'm allowed to say that anymore, it's probably offensive to someone. No, you can't take anyone for face value anymore, Dirk. After I found out this evening that someone I met originally on Tinder, and more recently on Meetup, wherever that is very much married. I guess that happens a lot, right?
Of course it does. I have a nameless friend from Long Island. She's from Long Island.
The G in there. Long Island.
From Long Island. And no specifics here.
Okay.
Very much married, very much online. There was I don't know if it exists anymore, but I love that Cheslina.
Yeah.
It's a great name. I never saw that name before. Is that a real name?
I don't know. It sounds, I don't know if it's Italian.
Sounds well. I would say Cheslina, right? If she is. people are all over the internet on sites like Ashley Madison, which is a website designed just for married people looking for a liaison. It's
Right.
understood that you are married and I am married and we're looking to hook up and go hit the motel on the side of the Long Island Expressway and have a
Right.
thing.
Right.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's a thing. If two consenting adults can do whatever they want, forget about whatever kind of collateral damage is involved in that when you've got husbands and wives and children, and that's for you to determine whether or not it's worth it. It's just like any affair, but the worst part about that is there's like a serious like internet trail. It's not like you ran into some girl in the supermarket and your eyes locked and you bang her in the motel and you never see her again, but then you want to see her again and you don't know how, so you keep going down aisle 5. Hoping
Keep going down aisle 5.
Keep hoping that she's going to be looking at avocados again, and she never is because she just used you and walked away. You know what? But Ashley Madison and the like, I'm sure there's tons of them. I have a lot of gay friends that I don't have. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't have any gay friends. I have like maybe one or two. All my friends are Oisin and his family and my other friends, and they're all married people and whatever.
Except for me.
Right. Well, they're all straight people mostly. Only because I kind of, it's like people say, oh, I'm friends. Gay guys are friends with girls because relate to them. I don't relate to them. I relate to the guys, and I relate to the fact that they're in long-term relationships or they're just street people. I just get it more because I don't like to go to the clubs and the parades and all that bullshit. But I know about all those sites and all that. I heard about like people who were on Grindr and all that stuff. And men are sluts to begin with. I'm not saying I am or he is or you are, but in general, I think we're built to be sluttier because our job is to procreate as many things to keep the population going. I think that it's innate to a certain extent that we're
I don't
just.
know if that's true for me, but whatever. I always hear that. That's been going around for the longest time. It's built into men's DNA to want to impregnate as many women.
It's not in my DNA either.
I mean, I'm not like
I've never
that.
known you. You were a serial monogamist. You were always. You were always
I kind
like
of focus on one woman and that's it.
Yeah, I've never known you to be
until she tries
slutty.
to kill me.
Well, that's
and then I run away.
I hope she's having a really good time on Tinder right now.
Right.
Italian murderess. Attempted murderess
is in the room. Good to see you back. Des has asked me what I'm drinking because he's probably thinking I'm drinking Middleton because I met with Des and his wonderful family over a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right here in Dublin. We had a lovely meal. Thank you again, Des. It was a wonderful evening. And he gave me a gift of a bottle of very special Middleton whiskey.
Wow.
But I'm not having that. Actually, you know what I'm having, Des? I had it that night at dinner. I'm having Frangelico.
Are you really drinking Frangelico?
Yeah. It's just
not on top of ice cream.
It's easy sailing. It's a little sweet. It goes well with the cigar.
It's very
you know what? Seeing as dead, it's not too syrupy. It's not as bad as Sambuca,
Kahlua, or
or the limoncello or whatever.
Oh, I hate that shit.
It's a bit more fresh and light than those. I'd recommend it as an after dinner drink. But
you guys were trying to murder me, and I was very smart when we were in Vicenza years back. You guys we were at this L'Angole, the restaurant L'Angole, right? L'Angolo, the corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's drinking what is that other kind of grappa? The next level up.
Well, you're talking about like Baricato.
I don't know, but it was like you were like, let me get 5 of those, and just because Dirk won't drink that. That's what you said. We're like, we had dinner in the piazza there, and then we went in for after dinner drinks, and you were ordering all these grappas for everybody, and you were like, I'll take 5 because Dirk's not gonna have one. He's not having that. And it was like some kind of next level grappa that they're famous for there.
Oh, it's probably Baricato. It's probably It's probably the lighter one, actually, the sweeter one, the one they stick in the barrels.
All I know is that
The
everybody
sweetness
got
is slightly.
super drunk later on, and I did not. I was like, oh my God. And it's like, even Paul, who does not drink like that at all, he had a couple of those. In Fano, in our favorite little town, they drink this stuff called Moretto, which is like a lethal combination of a bunch of different. I don't even know what's in it, but it's like a coffee with liquors. And I've had every time I go there, I've had one like a Guinness, and I'll just have one, and then I'm done because everybody wants to. And then they go to the gelateria next door because that you need something creamy and delicious. But yeah, Frangelico, huh? Well, that's great. I have a bottle of that here too.
I mean, it's okay. It's light and easy, but I'm gonna have a Middleton, seeing as Des is watching, so I'll go get that in a minute. Patricia Teague is in the room. We've so many ladies and gents.
I love having all the ladies in the house because they're fantastic. We have some great gals, don't we? Who watch the channel. I love them.
They're all high quality as well. Like, it's good.
Yeah, there's no shitty girls here. They're all super smart and say great stuff and have crazy watch collections. I just was like, so I have this.
Tim is laughing at the fact that I said I'm different.
Yeah, sure. You slutty whore, you dirty bastard. So, watch lady, right? So, my dentist, I bit the bullet. I had a lot of dental work I had to have done, and I bit the bullet, and I'm just getting everything fixed that I need to get fixed. And my dentist is a big watch guy. And he just got a Pepsi, and I'm like, oh, that's great, blah blah blah. And we talk about that, and talk about watches, and I said to him, like a couple of visits ago, I said, dude, I'm gonna send you an Instagram link that you will not recover from. And
the old watch lady.
I sent him the link to a watch lady's collection, and he texted me at 2:00 in the morning, and he goes, what the fuck is this? He goes, does she have everything I've ever dreamed of in my entire life? And I just wrote back, yes, she does.
So she was at a big event recently. I won't say where, but a big, very important watch event, and abroad. And we were speaking via text. And everybody spotted her. She's super mysterious. Nobody knows her face or anything, but she wants to remain anonymous. But people knew who the hell she was. Why? Because they recognized the tattoos. Because of course she has her very specific tattoos and her whole vibe and the fucking crazy watches she has on. She wears like 3 watches at a time.
She wears 3 watches at a time, and they're all.
I'll be back in a sec.
None of them say Casio. or Gucci or Michael Kors or something as evil as that. So I went back. I was actually at the dentist yesterday, and he comes up to me, and he was wearing this. I said, you only wear the Pepsi now, and he said, stop making fun of me. No one can compete with the watch lady. I was like, I know. I said, which one? And then he starts rattling off his wish list of all the stuff that he saw on her page. And I said, listen, you just have to take a step back and forget it. Because like I have very limited taste, and I love old Speedmasters and I love Milgauses, and I'm like the things that I like are the things that I like. And he's like rattling off all these watches that he saw on all watch ladies' Instagram that he's dreamt of his entire life. It's like, it's so funny. It was amazing. And he's like, do you know her? And I was like, yep, I do.
Conair MC. Did you change your watch? I could have sworn that you were wearing an AP. I was, and I changed it to this, and I'm going to change it in a minute as well. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll just keep changing my watch.
Let Oisin change into something more comfortable for you all, okay? Remember when women used to say, I'll be right back. I'm going to change into something more comfortable.
No, it's slip.
I'm going to slip into something more comfortable.
That's so much nicer. Slip.
Right. And women used to wear slips. Do you remember when your mom and your granny used to wear a slip?
Slip, yeah. It's
What?
like an undergarment.
Yeah. Do they
Below the
make
dress.
slips anymore, ladies? Do they still make slips? That's the question. I don't know if they do. Well, look
So
at
here's a
that.
bottle that
Aren't you
Jez
the
gave
lucky
me.
boy?
Look at that. This is some rare shit. And
Wow.
I will admit that I got home that night a tad tipsy, and my ma was still up.
And you
I
opened it.
said, "Ma, come on, let's have a Middleton."
Oh,
So we put a small dent in it. I'll have one now.
wow. Now, I'm not a whiskey guy. What is it about that? Because I've just been hearing from you guys forever and
It's
ever
just,
and ever.
look, dude, it's the same as wine. It's like they're all grape juice, right? A $5 wine and a $1,000 wine, they're all grape juice. It's what you do with it. It's, it's the technique. It's the aging. It's so many things. This is the Barry Crockett. So it's pretty high level.
Oh, watch lady. Yes, they do as outerwear. Hey, old watch lady. So as a bartender,
I
in
can
New York,
feel your disgust in that comment.
oh God, I just knew exactly where she was coming from, because I remember about 4 or 5 years ago during the summer, every single girl that came into the bar was wearing like lingerie. They were wearing like camisole tops. Every girl would come in, and I remember thinking, "Jeez, isn't that underwear? It's underwear." So you are so right, so incredibly right. But look at it. Let's watch you have a sip of that brown gold.
It's good. It's good.
I'm having
It's
a
really
Peroni.
good. You're always having a beer.
I mean, I'm not a beer guy. Just this summer.
You'd be racing to the loo. What are you talking about summer? I heard it's raining, lashing there.
No,
in
now
New
it
York.
is. Thank it is. But like this is probably the last 6-pack I'll buy. But it was so hot this summer. So I bought like a case of this shit, and I have it in the fridge. And I don't have any great wine in the house at the moment. And I never really do one because wine makes me tired. Cheers. Cheers, 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 cheers. Plus, I think a beer is something you can have when you're alone, but you're on the internet. Whereas a glass of wine for me is like, I want to sit around and have a chit chat and be with people I love, etc., etc., etc. So we've been talking forever about all the shit, and we didn't talk about any of the stuff
we were supposed to.
Well,
so the next thing was,
who gives a shit?
We were talking. So someone won the lottery, 1.5 billion. Is that correct?
1.5 billion in Florida with no federal tax. Yes, 24%, but no state tax, which means, wow. Here's my question, and I want everybody to write their responses down. What would you do with that? I mean, because nobody needs that kind of money. It's ridiculous. You'd have to take what you need. How much are you
walking away with after the?
I think that the Florida guy's going to walk away with somewhere in the neighborhood of $880 million.
Wow.
Because they're just going to take the 24%. Somebody do the math real quick. I don't know. The maths were never my strong suit. Like I play the lottery here as a lark every once in a while, because when it's big, why not get on the train? I'm like, Danny Thomas, St. Jude's, ASPCA, like you take the money that you need, so I could live in Italy for the rest of my life and all that shit. And then, whatever, sundries you might need along the way to help out all the people you want to help out. But the bulk of the money, nobody needs that. And you hear about people
says buy watches. Yeah, you'll run through all the money.
Geez, I don't
last long.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like Nathaniel says,
lady says, I'd save the NHS.
Right, of course you would do that. Of course you would, because you're all watch lady, and you would totally do that. I would do that too, because have you ever watched Catastrophe, Oisin?
Catastrophe.
Rob Delaney and Sharon Horgan.
Oh yes, I know. You mentioned this show every now and then. Yes.
I really wish you'd watch it because it's brilliant. And I finally got Dane and Emmett, your brother and your sister-in-law, to watch it. One of the most outrageously beautiful comedies.
Nathaniel says they walk away with 500 million, so they'll take $1 billion away.
Wow. No. There's no state tax, so it's just 24%. So Can somebody just do 24% of 1.5 billion, please? I mean, that's not hard to do.
This guy said 37%. Everybody's in disagreement right now. But anyway, it
just
doesn't
read
matter. It's still a sick amount.
Still a lot of money. But the NHS, Rob Delaney, who moved to London to be on that show, his beautiful son Henry got brain cancer and eventually, sadly, did pass away. And Rob Delaney started advocating for the NHS because he said it was the greatest thing he ever experienced as an American. That he walked into the hospital with his son with cancer. He was attended to. He was treated. There was never the phone calls about the bill. There was never the insurance bullshit. There was never any of that crap. There was never any of the dehumanization of him and his son. And so he's been spending most of his life since Henry passed away, trying to figure out ways to raise money for those kinds of causes. And isn't that great?
That's beautiful. Nathaniel says 1.5 billion. Lump sum about a half of that, minus a third. But that's how we came to that conclusion.
Okay, so why are we minusing a third now? I don't get it.
Because,
because you're taking it as a lump sum. Oh, right.
Yeah, if you take the lump sum, it's a lot less, right?
Why is that, though? Why does it work like that? I mean, not that any of us are ever going to find out. Hey, wait a minute. Where's the rest of my money? And you can't take it in the dole, right? You can't take it in the stipends, right? Because what if you have a heart attack next week? It's all over. Payouts. What happens if you get hit by a truck? Or what happens if your wife kills you?
Now. You should just take it all now. Make everyone you know and love, not everyone you know, but everyone you love, and everyone that matters to you, just make them rich immediately. If you think that that's clever to do, you have to be careful with that too. Some people don't know. You know, it's unlikely that most people would ever win that money, wouldn't know what to do with it.
Well, nobody does know what to do with it. That's why there's so many lottery horror stories.
Yeah, people get shot. People wind up killing themselves. People who, there's family issues. People who burn through a lot of it or they wind up dead in a hotel with a lot of cocaine in front of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have a mutual friend, an old friend of mine and a newer friend of Oisin that I'm unfortunately on the outs with, who has burned through. I've personally watched them burn through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars many different times. They've come into money and they've burned through it. And then they're big borrowing and stealing for a while. And, when anybody comes into an enormous amount of wealth, listen, I mean, I'm not rich, but yet I've figured out a way to budget myself to the point where I'm not like, oh, I don't have this. I don't want for anything. I don't, I mean, I don't even have a driver's license. Would I like a fancy car? Maybe if I won the lottery, I might get a driver's license so I could buy a fancy car. I do enjoy cars and I know a lot about cars because I live with a car junkie. But, I like beautiful guitars. I like nice watches. I've never felt a want for anything. That lottery thing would be a bonus. And the only thing that would make me really happy is to save all the puppies and kittens of the world for sure. Because I'm so tired of seeing my sister post these horror stories about these. I'd get together. My sisters and I would start an animal refuge that we control. That, it's not third party, so you don't know where the money's going. We would start an animal thing. I would do that, pay off everybody's debts that I love and care about, keep X amount of money. But like when you have that kind of money, I think people just go Vegas crazy. I think they just lose their minds. Oh, what did he slip on now?
First.
Oh, he's got the Plo Prof on now.
Just gave it away. I was trying to be all covert.
How can you hide the Plo Prof? There's no hiding that monster of the deep, that deep sea monster. Look at that thing. God, it really looks good on you. Now that's yours, right? You bought that, right?
No, long story to that one.
I think you need to have that because it's beautiful. and it looks really good on you. It's a great. Put that back up there. I just want to ogle it. See, most guys love to watch porn. I like to look at omegas. Look at that thing. Look at that. Look at that thing. Can we see the clasp? Show everybody the clasp.
Big, huge clasp.
It's amazing. Look at that monster of the deep.
Good watch. Big weight in it and everything.
Have you worn that on the street and wait for people to say shit about it? Or do they not know what that is?
I don't do that. I brought it to the event last night and everybody was like, oh my God, is that what I think it is? You know, because they're very rare. They're actually quite rare. And the Omega AD here in, as I mentioned earlier, in Dublin is pretty impressive. They have a lot of really good stuff, but there ain't one of these to be seen. Not even on a rubber.
No.
This one's even rarer because it's got the big, heavy chainmail.
That is super rare. It's almost Milanese, right? It is like a Milanese. Yeah. I mean, with that cloud, I mean, that iteration of that watch is just, that might be it. That might be it. I like the original one too, but I think that might be the one because it's glittery as well. Look at it. It's very glittery. That Milanese bracelet is crazy. Nathaniel says, one of my former clients recently got a wire transfer for $6 billion. He took everybody out for a beautiful dinner and amazing wine. Otherwise, zero changes. Okay.
Jesus.
Right.
That's funny, isn't it?
Right.
Meanwhile, he could have made them all millionaires, everyone at the table, and it wouldn't have even put a dent.
That's not a dent. There's no dent you can put at a dinner table.
Yeah.
You know,
he wouldn't have even put a dent. He could make them all millionaires. Maybe they were all already where I don't know.
Well, with Nathaniel's crowd,
there's those videos that are explaining the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. You ever see those? People don't understand the concept of billion and how huge it is in comparison to $1 million. It's a lot. It's like somebody said, I think it was 1 million seconds was like 17 days, or I don't know what it was. It wasn't that many days. It was like a month or two or something like that. And 1 billion seconds was like 32 years. It's like you have to understand what billion is. It's so much.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm just thinking about the difference between 1,000 and 10,000. You know, like, oh, it's 11,000, not 1,100. Okay, I'll take 2, please. I mean, yeah. So the next thing is, and this will only, well, it's both things, but I just remember watching TV the other day and seeing something about Usher being tapped to be the Super Bowl halftime show entertainment. And I went, wait a minute. This is a joke, right? What is this, 1993, 95? Usher?
No, he was still singing. Can you pull a photo of him up for the audience there? I brushed past Usher at a BMG party in 2003. Okay, because we were there because we were under RCA was going under BMG, and we were at the party and everybody was there. Aretha was there, Clive Davis was there, this guy, and he was tiny. First of all, he was a miniature human, a tiny person, yeah. And that was in the kind of height of his thing. He had that cool song, yeah. It doesn't sound like
that's a cool one song, more song of his than I can name.
Yeah. Do it. It's like a weird little motif on the keyboard. I'm not doing it any justice right now, but it's not much anyway. And I never really heard, he kind of fizzled out. How is he a thing now? Is he reinventing himself?
He's a presenter he was a presenter on The Voice for a while. He's kept his celebrity up, but I mean, listen, I don't pretend to know what's happening in today's music scene because it's all auto-tuned and it's all rap with artificial intelligence and all this stuff. But I was like, okay, out of all of the Super Bowl, getting tapped to be the Super Bowl artist is supposed to be the crowning jewel of your career because you are an influencer. You're
Not for
the
Taylor Swift. She turned it down. Did you hear that?
well, I believe she turned it down. I mean, she's got
Yeah.
a tour to make money on, and she doesn't need the Super Bowl. She's so big. She doesn't
Yeah,
need it.
she might be bigger than the Super Bowl.
She probably
It's
is
just
big.
fucking crazy.
I mean, this is like, it's almost like, I don't know if we're gonna get off the topic for a second. Let me
We're
get
always
rid of,
off the topic.
yeah, let me get rid of Usher for a minute. Anyway, what is it? 1993, and why is Usher? Could they not get any of the big acts of today at all? Did not only Taylor Swift say no, but Billie Eilish said no, and whoever those rap
Did she
artists.
say no?
No, I'm just guessing. Why couldn't they get her? But also, when you're gonna be the Super Bowl artist, shouldn't you have a little bit of a catalog of your hits and your classics to go back
Right.
on?
Right.
I couldn't name. Listen, and R&B is not my thing. That kind of R&B. Sure, back in the day, the Spinners and Motown, I love real R&B. But when it comes to a guy like Usher, looks like a lovely guy, looks like a terrific human being. I'm not saying he's not, but couldn't they have gotten somebody like they had Prince?
Prince was the best one I've ever seen. Did they ever have U2? Or like what about
Yes.
Springsteen? Oh, they had U2 already.
You
What about
too had
Springsteen? Did he do it?
I don't know that Springsteen did it.
Look it up
Get
there.
Bruce Springsteen now, but
He's still rocking.
but he's white.
Springsteen.
He's white. I don't think you're allowed to be white and be this. I don't think you're allowed. I think it's
Oh wow.
he's too
What are you
white.
talking about? Katy Perry did it. She's white.
Did she do it?
Yeah, and didn't fucking whitest singer of all fucking Maroon 5
Oh,
did,
I take
did
that
it? That's
back.
white. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where
I
you're
mean,
going with that.
I know that there's a couple of non-white artists that are way bigger than Usher right now. I mean, 2005.
Did Beyonce do it? Surely they could ask her. She's doing a tour.
Beyonce was on the show with Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Prince was the best. You know why? You know why Prince was the best?
Because he didn't give a fuck.
The guy was fucking legend.
It was raining.
It was raining. He didn't give a fuck.
Didn't give a fuck.
He's a super legend. But there's an extra thing about Prince that people don't think of. When they think of Prince, they think of, him dancing around and being a bit of a womanizer and all of that stuff, right?
Was he a womanizer? Or did
that was his shtick. It was a bit like Russell Brand, but I don't know if he was a serial monogamist as far as I can tell. But anyway, I'm digressing. The thing about Prince, the thing he did, which I find to be very American, right? Because this is the biggest America show, right? So American.
It is. It's America. It's America Central.
Right. He played fucking endless guitar solos.
He did.
And that's just so America. If you can't play guitar, years ago there was this boy band in Ireland called Boyzone.
Westlife? Oh, Boyzone. Ugh.
Right. And then there was this other girl band. They fizzled out very, very quickly.
All Saints?
All Saints are British.
They're not Irish. What do I know?
Yeah. So anyway, it was one of the concoctions from that motherfucker, what's his name, who made Boyzone and all of that, right? Irish producer dude, right? And anyway,
was he diddling the boys too, like the Lou Pearlman was here?
I doubt it.
Because we had that guy.
I remember bumping into one of these girls with a friend of mine, and we were walking back from the supermarket or something in Donamead, and where I am now.
Duns. You're coming back from Duns.
We're coming back from Duns stores, and with a packet of Bickies, and anyway. They were going over to LA to do a show, and they'd done a ton of shows in Europe, right? And they were going over to LA for the first time. And it was a load of work. I remember her saying, it's loads of work because why? Because they have to get a big band. Because around Europe, you can play with a backing track, right? For some reason, it's a disgrace, but you can get on the stage with no band behind you. And just as long as your mic is live, you can play, and just there doesn't have to be a band, okay? But they had to get a band for the LA show. Why? Because the Americans aren't going to buy it. The Americans need to see a fucking band on the stage. Where's the guitar? Where's the drums? I'm hearing guitar and drums, but I don't see the dude. Because Americans are like more, in a weird way, for a new country, they're more old school about shit. They want to see a guitar. Otherwise, they're going home. They're like, this ain't music, which is like, I mean, that won me over immediately. I was like, well, that's where a band needs to go. Of course, the United States. And, when I saw Prince that time, he sings a bit of a song and then he goes straight into the guitar solo. And the guitar solo goes on for like 15 minutes. I was like, this is the Super Bowl. This is America. A fucking rocking guitar solo, man. Like, Jimi Hendrix, like, let's do it.
And also he played that Foo Fighter song because he wanted to piss them off that he was playing it at the Super Bowl, and they were beyond delighted.
Louis Walsh, Nelly, thank you.
Louis Walsh. Louis Walsh has been on the X Factor with Simon Cowell and Sharon Osbourne.
Right.
So yeah, right.
There was a time then all his ideas were basically populating the radio here.
So he was the Simon Cowell of Ireland.
Radio here in Ireland, yeah,
Oh.
totally. The radio here, by the way, is all except for like a couple of stations. It's fucking awful. They're still playing the same exact songs. I was talking to my friends. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was yesterday. God, it's all blurry now. And he's one of the biggest radio DJs here. And I was like, there it is, man. It's still the same. I used to complain about this years ago with him. I'm like, why is it still Tina Turner, you're simply the best? The Cardigans, Love Me, Love Me. Say that you love me. Yeah,
say that you love me.
That's I mean, they're still living on that song, clearly. And
Robbie Williams,
Drive by the Cars, for some reason, it just continues.
Who's gonna take you home?
Great song. But like, why is it always on the playlist? And why is Love Me by the Cardigans always on the playlist? Like, there's no one with any imagination in the mainstream radio stations here. It's fucking sad.
I wish that were true here, because you look at the radio now and it's just everything. It makes no fucking sense. It's like super clippy beats.
At least they're not. They don't have Tina Turner, you're simply the best.
I'd much rather listen to Tina Turner sing the worst Diane Warren song of all time than what they have now. Because now it's all really super crass lyrics. Like, I mean, I remember when that Kia song, My Neck, My Back, My Crack came out. But now, then who was that artist that had the song about her WAP?
Yes.
WAP. I'm not going to say because I'm a gentleman
at this point. That's even old. That was a couple of years ago.
No, I know it was, but now it's opened up the floodgates for everyone to be as crass and degenerate as possible.
Disgusting. Yeah, it's completely disgusting.
It's disgusting. And you know what? Here's an interesting point about, and we don't talk about music that much because we're way too inside. But Tina, how many Grammy awards does Tina Turner have? Does anybody want to look that up? No. I'll tell you this: Beyonce has 33 Grammy awards. Somebody tell me how that woman, who is a medium at best talent, she's a beautiful girl who can sing, who doesn't really write. She's got 50 guys writing her songs, committee, and Barbra Streisand has like 4 Grammy awards. Judy Garland never had any, maybe, but how does anybody how does a girl like that get 33? That's like Quincy Jones numbers. Like Quincy Jones produced everything by everybody that was great. Stevie Wonder, everything that was great. Prince, great. Beyonce has 33 Grammys. And you know who else has a couple of Grammy awards? You ready for this? Cardi B.
Because she's such a genius.
But Milli Vanilli got stripped of their 1 Grammy award, and that guy killed himself. You know why? Because they were doing what everybody else is doing now and getting Grammy awards, and that's called lip sync and not sing on their own records.
Kyle D said U2 was in February 2002. It was only okay.
I'm going to remind you, U2 played and we'll talk about U2 in a second because they're doing this very lame Vegas thing that looks really fucking shitty. And
Yeah.
I'm very worried about their relevance because they just don't feel relevant to me.
And they're playing it without their drummer. Larry's sick.
They're playing it with that. That's the whole reason. They're playing this show without Larry because you need surgery. But what they made a commitment, you're U2. Push it back.
Right.
You cannot play a series of concerts without Larry fucking Mullen Jr. What are they, crazy? Because they've got a Vegas gig? Fuck off.
It's in poor taste.
It is really, and
they're doing it in that dome thing. That
it's called the Sphere.
Yeah.
It's in Madison Square Garden presents. It's built. It's like the 131,000 speakers and the biggest screens in the world. And
Des says Aretha got 18. Grammys.
Okay, well, okay.
Tina has 8. Watch this, Brian. Tina has 8
Grammys. Beyonce. So Beyonce, in essence, the Grammy thinks she's the greatest artist that's ever lived. I mean, John Williams has like the most. Doesn't he have the most Oscars or most nominations?
John Williams says, yeah, I think the most nominations and perhaps the most Oscars. Yeah, because he's.
I think Walt Disney has the most Oscars of all time, but
okay,
that's just whatever. But Beyonce, she is like the most mediocre of the mediocre.
Well, there's a lot of people who disagree with that.
But no, she's
half your age.
Well, they'll be totally wrong. You look at Billie Eilish and her brother who write songs in their bedroom, and she goes to a boardroom to pick up her songs. She stops by the boardroom on the 4th floor to pick up her songs because they were written by that whole committee.
You mean?
Yeah. So that's just no.
No, Billie writes her own songs.
Sure, she
her
does.
Brother. Yeah,
they write their own songs. A lot of girls, Lana Del Rey. Okay. Yeah. Eddie says Disney has 22 Oscars. I mean,
I believe that John Williams has more. Let me look it up. How many?
So U2, we digress to this point that, I mean, I've loved them my whole life. They've never made a shitty record, but they really are forgetting now because they went to Vegas and they shot a video for their new single. Alison Krauss. Okay. Can we talk about her? She's fucking unbelievable. She's an incredible fiddle player, and I've never heard anybody sing that in tune in my life.
John Williams only has 5 Academy Awards, but he has 62 nominations.
All right, well,
and 25 Grammys.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
Alison Krauss. I mean, Robert Plant made records with her. You know why? Because she's fucking cool. It's just that whole thing. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame looks like Kate Bush is not going to show up, or she's not going to perform.
Why not?
Because she's Kate. But Brandy Carlisle will be there, and I love Brandy. Don't get me wrong, but she's the muse of the industry. She's the industry darling right now. So if there's an industry party, Brandy Carlisle is going to be there with her wife, because she's going to be like, "I'm a great singer, and he's my lesbian wife," and it's all so blah. And she's great. Don't get me wrong. I love her records. But I just think the whole persona, like U2 performing without Larry Mullen, they should not do that. It's such a tarnishment of their epic career. And let's face it, they're at the end, very tail end of their 45-year history. They're not going to ever put out another single that's going to have any kind of chart relevance. They're never going to have U2.
Oh.
They never. There's no room on the charts for U2. There's no room for legacy artists like that.
I wish they'd hang up their hat though, real quick.
They should have hung it up.
Maybe they'll do this Vegas thing, but that would be sad if Larry didn't play the final tour. That would be kind of fun. Because they're beginning to get a little old now, and it's showing, especially in Bono.
Oh, Bono looks terrifyingly bad.
Yeah.
He looks, his hair looks really dyed.
A little down.
Is he? Did he?
He's going down a little bit on all the, where he might go up, he goes down on the vocals because he can't reach it anymore. They need to stop. Anyway.
Meanwhile, I just saw an article on the news. Not that anybody, and I know a lot of you guys know who he is. Paul Rodgers, who's considered he's not one of my favorite singers, but he's a great singer. He just had like 11 strokes 2 years ago. Now he's out on the road singing his ass off.
Wow.
So. Some people have, like Steven Tyler. How does that guy snort your weight in cocaine and be able to go out on the road and sing like Steven Tyler in 1972? How are some people like Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple? That guy, he snorted more coke and did more heroin than anyone alive, and he's out
Yeah.
there singing like F5 and F the G. You know, he's singing 5 octaves. So I think it's physiologically what you're capable of doing. I mean, just because you have great rare talent doesn't mean you're a great artist, as we all know, because there's a lot of great artists out there that don't have a lot of talent, that are very minimally talented, that are just great at their artistry. They figured out how to work it out the same way with people who are extremely,
There's something depressing for you there. Look at that.
I mean, wow.
That needs to be shot. I swear to God. I mean, I don't wish bad on people, but
Kanye West has 24 Grammys. Wow.
So wrong.
That's just like, those are pity Grammys, right?
He should have 24 bullets in him. That's what he needs.
Well, listen, awards are stupid. Like we're jaded and we're in our 50s. I love saying that we're in our 50s. And I can finally say that.
You asshole.
I can find it. Well, we're in our 50s, right? I mean, if you won a Grammy Award, say like you decided
you're not going to get much charge out of that, man. That would have to be on there half an hour to make any difference. Just let it. You got more battery power than you think you have, probably. Oh, it's gone. No.
I was like, what is he talking about? Hey, is that
Jer?
Is she going to make an appearance on the show? Hi, Jer.
Wouldn't be right.
Dirk says hi.
Dirk says hi.
Hi.
So,
if I won a Grammy Award, I wouldn't even go. What would you do? Why would you go there to be part of the? It just seems so useless to me. Like awards now just seem so superficial at this point. And I love watching red carpets and all that stuff, but I just don't feel like I think that the Grammys and the Oscars, because everybody's so PC now, that they're kind of giving awards away to people that they think deserve them, like Mahershala Ali. Did anybody see Green Book? It was okay. It was like an after school special. It was like a Hallmark film. And he won an Oscar for that because he won it the year before, because he was the de jour guy, you know.
For a hot second, yeah.
Yeah, for the hot seconds, you know. We'll probably never hear from him ever again. You know, awards seem to be predicated on the fact that whatever is hot, the zeitgeist is in terms of, you know, the social wave, whatever the social thing is.
You know what? I tend to agree with you. Justin Bailey, the Grammys cannot be taken seriously. I've never taken them seriously. Never.
That's great.
I don't give a shit who wins. I never watch them.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I don't even want to talk about them.
That's great. I mean, when I was a kid, I
like movie awards. I was asked years ago with Jerry Harrison, do you think the movie industry is better than the music industry? And I said, yes. Because at least in the movie awards, I know the Oscars is very America or English-speaking biased, but overall, you're probably getting the best movie. You know, when Parasite won a couple of years ago, remember that film from South Korea?
Yeah.
Most people in the world who tune in to watch the Oscars, they tune in because they want to see Angelina or Brad Pitt or someone on the red carpet. They want to see all the glamour. Right?
Sure.
But most of them probably went, Parasite? What's that? It's in a foreign language. Most people don't watch art films, right? They just don't watch them. You know, you're not going to see Fast and the Furious or John Wick Part 3 get best film.
No.
Even though that made the most at the box office.
Right.
You
finally see
a good film that wins, or the better films or higher caliber films from an artistic standpoint. Now, if my daughter was sitting next to me, she'd punch me in the arm for saying this. Because she's at a different level. But at least it's going to be intellectually stimulating, good, high quality films. They're not going to have, oh shit, sorry, you can't see me anymore. My battery ran out. I'll just put in a new one. But you can still hear me, right?
Oh, we hear you just great.
Okay, so you're not going to see on for best movie, it's up. It's John Wick Part 3, Fast and the Furious Part 17, uh, you know, uh, Avengers Part God knows what.
I've not
You know,
seen a single one of those Marvel films.
yeah, you're not gonna see any of those up for best film. So most people watching, like we might have seen Parasite. Maybe I honestly I hadn't heard.
I haven't seen
before.
I know what it is, but I haven't seen it.
Right. But for the most part, most of the planet don't go to see art films. They go to see the Avengers and John Wick. That's what they go to see because the planet is mostly populated by complete buffoons, right? That's just the world, right? Most people are idiots, right? That's the world we live in. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just tired or whatever. I'm grumpy. But
No. That's why we love you.
Yeah.
Be tired and grumpy.
Yeah. I'll be tired and grumpy and smoke my cigar. But in the music world, in the Grammys world, the John Wick and the Fast and the Furious of the music world wins. That's my issue with the music world. It's not the best.
Right.
It's not the best album of the year. It's the album that sold the most of the year that gets best record.
I wrote an open letter to the chairman of the Grammy Awards when I saw the last iteration on CBS a couple of months ago, March, whenever it was. And it was opened up with some Bad Bunny guy, and it was a melange of dancers and whatever. Everything was pre-recorded, and it was rap, so it sounded inherently messy because rap does not really translate well to the live stage. It is inherently messy, especially when there's people walking around and running and doing this. People have bad mic techniques. People have very bad. When you're a singer, you have a great mic technique, like Katie Lang, when to pull back or whatever. But like rappers, they're just like, they all hold it like this. They all cup it like this. And it just sounds, it's clipping and it's terrible. Anyway, it was a mess. And then all those artists start winning Grammy Awards. And I was just appalled. So I wrote an open letter about how I think that the Grammy Awards need to give Milli Vanilli their award back, or at least issue them an apology, because the standard that they set when they took away their Grammy Award, and that guy eventually killed himself over the shame of that, is now being awarded tenfold. So, Brandi Carlile, she was like the only artist of the night that got up, plugged in a guitar with a band and sang her ass off. And who would want to follow that? But everybody's so arrogant now because they got their tracks in the toaster and Pro Tools and
it's
their
just
pyro.
Making the most money. That's all it is. It's just making the most money. And for some reason, the movie industry doesn't have an issue with that. John Wick producers and director, or the Mission Impossible guys, they're not getting butthurt that their film isn't up for best film. They'll get best special effects or best, I don't know, something to do with the filming, but they're not going to get best movie, best adapted screenplay, or anything like that. And they don't really have a problem. They'll get all the money they want from the studio. They'll make a shitload of money for the studio so that the studio can go off and make some, romantic tragedy or
Shakespeare in Love,
or something like that, and then that'll be up for the. So there's at least they're pretending to have higher values in the movie industry, whereas the music industry, it's just not.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, George Clooney always says, I do one for them, two for me. One for them, two for me.
Sammy said, you got to give Dua Lipa the Grammy for best legs in the business. She does not have that. She is a beautiful girl. Okay.
They already gave her. She's got a Grammy.
But, I'm just talking about her legs.
I know, but they gave it to her for her legs because a talent she is not.
The best leg, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a team. If you like Dua Lipa, you'll enjoy the team. She's the face of a team of people. It's like applauding Tom Cruise. It's all everybody behind him. It's not just him.
Right.
But whatever, it's the same thing. No, sorry.
Does Lana Del Rey have any Grammys? I bet she doesn't.
I don't know. Let's look that up. Dua Lipa does not have the best legs in the business. Taylor Swift has the best legs in the business.
She's just so tall.
They are just incredible legs, man.
Well, you're also a vowed leg man.
I mean, you're
the leggiest leg man I know.
You thought that after you met the doctor because her legs were like 11 miles long.
I know, but I instantly know what you're gonna like when I
Oh,
see a girl with
Rachel's
ridiculous.
legs as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you
Yeah.
just love. You just you're like. I
I
mean, you
mean,
would have done great in the 40s.
Yeah, right. Good
You're
legs are
born.
like, oh,
You're born in the wrong era. You should have been born in the USO era, where all the girls were doing the
and
USO tours.
good legs can't be faked. You can do a lot
No,
of other stuff to your face and to your bosom, but good leg. I mean, you can work out a lot and help it, but they, you know, oh,
yeah, that's your thing. Nathaniel says he gave up on the Grammys when Daft Punk won for that I mean, that wasn't it Nile Rodgers. Didn't he produce that? Wasn't it mostly Nile Rodgers with robots? Isn't that what that was?
I didn't mind Daft
No,
Punk. I thought it
I
was
didn't.
more interesting
More
and
novelty,
experimental. Yeah.
like Gorillas. Remember Gorillas
Well, that's the guys
from Blur, right?
from Blur. Yeah.
And
That
they
was
just
okay.
they did like holograms. Stamen, right? That was his brainchild. Yeah. Yeah, like
There you
Ian Russell
go.
says, didn't Spielberg do the second Indiana Jones so the studio would do Schindler's List? I don't think Spielberg's been in that kind of position for millennia. I
Since
think,
Jaws.
yeah, I don't think he has. I think I remember when he was working on Schindler's List, as it was like he was working on a mystery movie while he was doing Indiana Jones.
Also, Ian, it should be said that you don't have to twist anyone's arm in Hollywood to make a Holocaust story. They fucking love the Holocaust story. Come on, let's face it.
What is the Ricky Gervais line from Extras?
Yeah,
I told you.
yeah. Make a Holocaust story. You get your.
You know,
Yeah.
Winslet. You know why you don't have an Oscar, right? Never made a Holocaust movie. Make a Holocaust movie, you win an Oscar. A year later, she makes The Reader, and he presents the Oscar, and he goes, and the winner is.
I told you. I told you, Winslet. I told you.
She won.
Which, by the way, was a very good movie, The Reader.
Yeah, and Schindler's List is the most mesmerizing.
Schindler's List is one of the most powerful
movies I've ever seen in my life, and my absolute favorite John Williams score ever, because it's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard in my life. That melody is just murder.
To Ian's point, it doesn't apply in that one, but it's a good, it's a good attempt, because what Ian is pointing at is something that Clooney has to do all the time.
Yeah,
Clooney wants to make Good Night and Good Luck, or he wants to make the remake of Solaris or whatever. So he has to go and make Ocean's 11 or some rom-com, that new rom-com with what's her name?
Julia Roberts. I got 11 minutes in before he turns it off.
You know what? You know why I lasted I lasted about 20 minutes? You know the one reason? Because he was wearing his Aquaterra.
Yeah, I know.
I just wanted to see the Aquaterra.
I didn't.
He wears that through the entire movie. So you just
wears whatever.
I just turned off the sound. I turned off the sound. I was like, I just want to see Clooney wear this beautiful blue dial Aquaterra.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, that plane scene where, like, I hate those kind of those kind of comedies.
You can see the two of them just dial it in, like just phone it in. You can see, like, especially Clooney going, whatever, it's paying the bills, so I can do my next thing, or so that I can fund my wife to go help kids in Rwanda or whatever she has to do. You know,
villain in Tuscany, villain in Tuscany, villain in Tuscany, villain in Tuscany.
Right. Exactly. You can see it in his face, because you know that guy has much more substance to him. We've seen the films he made. He made Ides of March. That's his film. He fucking directed Ides of March.
I know. Is this true? Because, like, we're pretty up on the Spielberg and Kubrick thing. Schindler's List was originally written by Kubrick, called The Aryan Papers, but gave it to Spielberg because it was too painful. Now, guys, my favorite Spielberg film is AI, which was originally storyboarded and written by Stanley Kubrick, and he died. So he begged Spielberg before he died, could you please make this film? And everybody thinks the bits that are Spielberg are actually Kubrick. But did they also have a relationship that had something to do with Schindler's List? Is that true?
That's new information to me.
I
Very
did
interesting.
not know that.
And
If
it was
that is
called the
true,
Aryan Papers. Jesus,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
hardcore, man.
Ugh, it just makes me think of Rolf. You've probably never seen The Sound of Music, have you?
Of course,
Okay, good.
everyone's seen that.
Just think of Rolf, that Nazi cunt, when they're in the graveyard and they've made it so far after the so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. And they get up there and Rolf blows the whistle and all the Nazis come after them. I just think that he's the perfect Aryan, that guy. And all you want to do is take a shovel and beat the fuck out of him.
Well,
That's all you want to do.
What about Ray Fiennes in Schindler's List?
Oh,
That was the first time I ever saw him, and he had a bit of pop belly, and he gets up in the morning and he stretches and then gets the gun, and he's just like picking off people in the
yeah,
camp.
he's like, I love you. What is that word? He goes, I absolve you. I forgive you. There's a term he says in that movie.
Yeah, because Schindler tells him that real power is forgiveness.
Forgiveness, he goes, I
He's
absolve
like, no,
you.
the real power is not killing the person, but forgiving, because then you saved their life. It was Schindler's way of tricking the guy into thinking there was, merit in, or whatever, appealing to the guy's vanity, his bizarre vanity. It was very, very well written.
Armand Goth. That was the very first time I think anybody had ever seen Ray Fiennes, and it was the most powerful thing because Shoshana, well, not Shoshana. What was the maid? What was her character's name? Forgive me.
Yeah,
my God,
he falls in love with her. Yeah,
falls in love with her, and he says to her, "This is the worst part of it all." He goes, "I find myself having feelings for you. I know you're not exactly a human."
Oh God, did he say that?
He says, like, I know you're not a person or a human. He says,
Jesus.
he goes, which is crazy. I know, because of course you're not a person, as it were. Like, because that's the way he looked at her, like she wasn't a person. That is the most horrific, despicable depiction in acting I have ever seen of a Nazi in my life. He was the...
Yeah, that's how we were introduced to Ray Fiennes.
That's how
think of all those other. Did you see The English Patient?
I loved The English Patient. And you know why? Because the Deban is in it.
Oh, the Deban.
My favorite hotel in the world in Venice is masquerading as some Scheherazade of sorts, but the whole Thomas Mann room, the whole movie that is shot in the Deban on the Venice Lido. I love The English Patient.
She's a Swiftie. I'm not a Swiftie I like some of her songs, but man, like, look, she's a tall blonde with long legs. What am I going to do?
He likes girls, guys. What are you going to do?
Have you heard the latest from Roger Waters? He's asking Sammy D.
What's the latest? I watch his everyday thing.
He redid the
that's old
Dark
news.
Side of the Moon. It's old news. I haven't actually heard it, but I've heard parts of it. I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
That was some.
Ray Fiennes was absolutely robbed of an Academy Award for that performance, because he's a beautiful human being and a caring, loving, non-judgmental person in real life, and he actually made that.
He's acting. He's like,
I'm not really a wizard. I'm just pretending to be a wizard for the duration of the film or the play.
Film or play.
By the way, Michael Gambon died.
Yes, he did.
Fuck.
I was trying to think of because I'm not into Harry Potter. I find that shit just.
He's Dumbledore.
Awful. So I'm like, people are saying, "Oh, he's from Harry Potter." I'm like, don't reduce his amazing career to that stuff at the end.
No, that's the box office talking.
Yeah, one of my favorite performances of his was in The Insider.
Oh my God,
he's the head of Brown and Williamson.
What a fucking movie that is! Yeah. What a movie that is!
Quote that fucking film as well.
Yeah,
Conspiracy was a good film. You were right, Glenn Parker. That's with
Stanley Tucci and Kenneth Branagh.
That's right. Thank you, Stanley Tucci. I forgot. Stanley Tucci was Eichmann.
Yeah, and he was great in it.
Yeah.
Now he just makes pasta and drinks martinis.
I know, he's all over the place, and saying, he said recently that he thinks the quintessential Italian dish is bolognese, lasagna bolognese. And
Wow.
I was like, oh, dude, like that's so. No, the quintessential Italian dish, the most perfect Italian dish in the world is the caprese salad. It's the mozzarella with the tomato and the basil. That is, if you want the center, the very center, the eye of the storm of Italian cuisine, it's that. I was so uninspired by it.
Because
Lasagna bolognese.
because he's into cooking and
And by the way, he
salad.
didn't say it right. The
Did he
real name
not?
for that, the real name for that is pasticcio.
Oh, is that right?
Pasticcio is the name for that, but people call it lasagna because it uses the lasagna pasta. But it's actually
Isn't
pasticcio.
lasagna an American construct? Whereas like it's like cannellone is manicotti. You know, manicotti is an American version. Like lasagna is a thing in Italy. I've never seen lasagna on the menu.
Lasagna pasta normally is in long strips.
Sure.
So it's a bit like a tagliatelle, right? And you get lasagna long strips. Rarely do they use it in those big squares, those rectangles that they make the pasticcio with.
Okay.
Anyway, Stanley Tucci's in it. Kenneth Branagh is Heinrich, Colonel Heinrich, and fucking Colin Firth is in that though. He's Stuckert.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Really good film.
It was good. Andrea says, much to my chagrin, it is not, Andrea. It is sitting there like and he lives like.
Can you read the question?
Sorry, is the Grand Hotel? Well, it's up there. Is the Grand Hotel?
But the people will be listening to the podcast.
Is Grand Hotel de Bain still open? I always forget that because I'm a visual guy. I'm a man. So this big monolith sitting on the Marconi, Guglielmo Marconi, on the Venice Lido is sitting there, and it was just open for the film festival where Campari took it over and did an amazing kind of emblazoned it in Campari red and had everybody there dancing, and it's there. And from what I'm told, it is owned by a Italian conglomerate, and it is about to become back to its grandeur. It's going to be 2 years. Apparently, they finally got it together. So I hope that that's true because it's right next to the Excelsior, a couple blocks away, and it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever. And it's like the very first luxury hotel I ever stayed in my life in 1999, and I will never get over it. And I cannot wait till it opens, and I go with that guy, this guy. That's work, right? That guy.
Oh,
I want to go with that guy, his brother and sister-in-law and Paul, and I want to check into that motherfucker and stay there forever.
What should be like?
Hey, if I won the lottery, I'd do all those things I said I was going to do, and I'd buy the de Bain.
And yeah, reopen it. Like
I'd buy the de Bain. I would just bring it back to 1925. I wouldn't, other than whatever modern things need to get done, but I'd make sure it was exactly the way it was. Actually, it was built in 1909 because it's so beautiful. And not that the Excelsior is not beautiful, but the Excelsior always looks like they don't try hard enough, right? Am I wrong about that?
I mean, I haven't been in there now in a while.
I know, but it's like it's a 5.5 star. It says 5.5 star,
Okay.
but it isn't really. It's just where it is. But anyway, thanks for asking, Andrea, because we talked about it. But
yeah, we've been watching very closely, Andrea.
Yeah, I Google it every day because
every time I pass it on the bike, because I go cycling out there on a sunny day, I always take a photo for Dirk and send it to him. Yeah. No progress.
But you were the one that sent me the Campari shit, right?
Yeah, because I'd heard about that. I have some friends who worked it like as waiters. Some of Simone's kids did the
I would do
the model.
I would go there and work as a waiter just so I could go in
inside. Sure.
So one night when we were there, and the reason why I stayed in that hotel was I booked my trip through AOL Travel because that was a thing in 1999, and they fucked up my reservation in Venice. I was supposed to say somewhere like by Santa Lucia, by the train station, the main train station, and they didn't do it. So I had to call my brother, who called AOL, because 800 numbers didn't work in Europe, and they booked me on the Lido. And I told Paul, he's like, the Lido, we have to take a bus, it's gonna suck, blah blah blah. We go there. It was the most magical thing. We paid like $250 a night for this ridiculous suite. It was outrageous. But we walked around in the middle of the night, and we like went into the kitchens, and I've seen the skeletons of that building. Went into the roof. We walked because there was nobody there. It was like late October. So it was right before it closes for the season. And it's cool. Like you go down this great staircase down from the main level, because where that is in Venice, just so you have an idea, it's like there's a strip of like a sandbar, which is the Venice Lido, and there's one big road called Marconi, and the Excelsior is on the beach, it's on it, but the Debaz is on the other side of the road. So the way you get to the beach is you go down to the basement, and there's this big long hallway that leads you under the road and opens out into the beach. So that's how you get there. And we did that. It was freaking amazing. Anyway, I'm just whacking off to my memories of we probably stayed there and it probably sucked. But like in 1999, I was like, wow, this is the greatest thing I ever did. So it'll be my favorite place ever.
We had some good times at Excelsior, man.
Oh, I know. I love Excelsior. And you know that when we stayed at Deban, because they were sister hotels, they were all owned by Chiga. They were Chiga Italian hotels, so it was part of the same thing. So we took our Deban card and we went over and had dinner at the Excelsior, and they just put it on our bill at the next hotel.
Eddie, I love that you brought that up. Speaking of Scorsese, his cameo on Taxi Driver is so scary and good. Yeah, he's in the back of the car, and his wife is in bed with another man, and he's gonna go shoot him. That was a really scary scene.
Wow.
That new Scorsese film is coming out now as well, with DiCaprio, about the Native Americans.
Yeah, I wonder what that's going to be like. De Niro's in. De Niro looks like, they don't have to de-age him badly, which is good. Right. Like in The Irishman. Did you enjoy The Irishman?
I did, because it had Scorsese DNA all over it.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Joe Pesci back on screen. He's a very natural actor. In some ways, he kind of outacts the other two. The other two try so hard.
They tried too hard, I think.
Yeah. Whereas Pesci has certain skills. What did Paul say?
He said that the scene where De Niro went to kick the shit out of the guy, even though he was all de-aged, he still moved like a fucking 80-year-old man.
Yeah, because the movement is, it's not there.
It was so bad. I just thought it was a really overdrawn movie, and I wanted to love it so very, very much, but I didn't. And I don't enjoy Leonardo DiCaprio as an actor, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. I just don't think I think he's all right. I don't think he's great. He's not, your guy. He's all right. He's such
Day-Lewis.
He's not that, I mean, like,
no one has that range. No one, not even De Niro has that.
Brando did. Brando did. Yeah. I mean, if you watch and I used to hate Brando because studio actors used to bother me because that whole method thing. It took me a really long time to come around.
You're not into method?
Brando. What?
You don't like method?
No, because I can smell it usually. I can see method actors. I'll be like, oh, he's actor studio. Oh, actor studio. You can tell. There's a certain kind of way that they do shit. Like watch Bonnie and Clyde, and watch Gene Hackman's wife. She won an Oscar for it. Oh, what's her name?
Faye Dunaway?
No, is that Geraldine Page?
Geraldine Page? Okay.
It's not Geraldine Page. It's the mother from Roseanne. What is her name? Guys, you're the best. Tell me what her name is. Roseanne's mom on the show Roseanne. She's method, and you can smell it. There's a certain thing that they do, and Brando, I just watched On the Waterfront not long ago, and it fucking punched me so hard in the face. It was so good. Wow. So good. And Estelle Parsons, roar of the tiger, you're the thrill of the fight. Yeah. I sounded just like the singer from Manowar. The thrill of the fight. That's what Eric Adams from Manowar says. The fight. Estelle Parsons, yeah. Oh, it's so methody. There's a certain thing that they did. Like Marilyn was doing method for a while, and a bunch of people. Like, you've seen the Misfits, right?
Yes.
Fuck me, that movie. Clark Gable, Marilyn Monroe, and Montgomery Clift in a John Huston film that is so Eli Wallach. Everybody watch that movie tonight if you've never seen it. You've never seen Marilyn Monroe in your life like what you'll see in that film. It's heartbreaking. It's just
Marilyn Monroe is such a strange actor, I have to say. So like none of her real personality is what you're seeing on screen.
No, she was
completely
Marilyn.
Cartooned herself.
She did. It was all on purpose. She was like, there's a funny, I forget who it was that said it, but somebody said she was walking down the street and she's wearing like a sweater and a kerchief, and they're like, it's amazing how we can walk through the streets and nobody knows. She goes, you want to see it? Do you want to see it? She pulled her kerchief off and did
and she just turns it on.
She turned it on and then fucking got swarmed.
She does that wide-eyed stuff, like it's
yeah.
And she's always dreaming, imagining
I don't
things.
know
like,
exactly.
It turns on this thing. It's like really freaky.
Yeah, like
do you smell? There you go,
Nathaniel. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of
Hold on.
Good.
Can you smell Daniel Day-Lewis's method acting? For anybody who's listening, that's the question. Can you smell it off Daniel Day-Lewis? You can.
You know I'm not his biggest fan. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I'm an oil man. I've always been an oil man. I think it's just he's great. There's no great. However,
you just reduce his whole fucking career.
I know, but I just sometimes I find him to be like, it's not like what was the early shit he did when he was doing the Irish movies?
He did In the Name of the Father.
Name of the Father. God. Mind blowing. I found.
I'm an oil man.
I'm an oil man. I've always been an oil man.
That's just one of his roles.
I know.
I know he did it back to back with Gangs of New York.
Yeah, which was terrible.
There were it was a terrible film, but his performance is amazing.
Yeah.
He carries the whole film.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about it.
There you go. Shane McGurk, Joaquin Phoenix, and the Joker's method acting at its best.
Is Joaquin Phoenix a member of the Actors Studio?
I don't know if he's, well, first of all, the Actors Studio and the Pace University isn't all Stanislavski. You choose whether you want to be Stanislavski, Lee Strasberg school method or not. So I actually don't know if Joaquin does Stanislavski method. I'm not sure if
remember
I think he has his own method.
Remember when he was like the weirdo homeless Hasidic guy on TV for a while, and he was like, do you remember that when he was acting like a total psychopath?
Yeah, he I'm not here or something was the movie, and he grew the beard and so on. He tried to be a rapper. It was all like he would just go out and be. When I studied method 1,000 years ago, we had to go out in the street and be people, like in real life, to see if we could bring the acting off of the stage and just like be the people. Yeah,
which I don't think sounds too hard. Just go be something. I mean, I don't think that's that hard.
People do that in their lives anyway.
They do.
So that was the lesson to us. It's like people do pretend to be. I mean, think of a terrible example. Like people are some people are bad people, some people are serial killers, and they go out and they pretend to be nice people all day long in their job, but meanwhile they're thinking about killing everyone in their office.
I wonder what her spleen tastes like.
That kind of thing. So people do pretend all the time.
Sure.
All the world's a stage, correct?
And we are merely players, performers, and portrayers.
Exactly.
Each another's audience.
My Left Butt. That was the first Oscar that Daniel Day-Lewis got.
My Beautiful Laundrette. That was the first thing I ever saw him in.
What's his wife wrote that, I think.
That was great. I mean, listen, he's been great. Sometimes he's retired now. I didn't watch The Phantom Thread because the beginning of it took forever to get cooking, and I was like, get cooking.
That's P.T. Anderson. It doesn't matter.
I know. I will watch it because I do love Paul Thomas Anderson. And I don't get Wes Anderson. Do you get
And
Wes Anderson?
he's not. I'm an oil man. He's
No.
not doing.
He's
Ladies
like
and gentlemen, if I tell you I'm an oil man, I think we'll agree. I do my own drilling, and the men that work for me are men I know.
That's too scary. Ooh, that's creepy. He'll be back, I'm sure. You
I
know.
have a feeling he will.
Anyway, watch On the Waterfront, or watch Streetcar Named Desire, which is watching actors fuck, which is, just mesmerizing performances all around. But I think everybody in that cast won an Oscar but Marlon Brando. Vivian Leigh won it. Eli Wallach won it. Blanche was Kim Hunter. Everybody in the entire show won an Academy Award but him.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Yeah. I've never and so it goes. I love your fucking. I love your time. He was really good as Lincoln himself. He said, I still haven't watched that whole movie because it's so slow and it's so dark. And I how much I love Janusz Kaminski.
Mm-hmm.
That movie I get up to the candlelit scene where he's making the plans for everything. And it's like, that's when I fall asleep. It's so somatizing, that film, Lincoln.
Somatizing. Good word, man.
It is. It's somatizing. Knocks me out. I love the fact that Sally Field fought and got that back. I love that. She he thought of her. Then the studio was like, no, she's too old. And then had to screen. Sally Field, 2-time Academy Award winner, had to screen test for that film.
She was one of my first crushes.
She's gorgeous.
10 years old. Sally Field. I can't remember what film it was, but she was such a little doll.
Gidget.
I don't know what film it was.
She started out life on American television in the 50s or 60s. I'm going to say early 60s.
60s, yeah.
Where she was a surfer girl named Gidget. And it was a phenomenon. Gidget lunchboxes, and she was a huge star. Then she left Gidget and she became the Flying Nun. And
so it goes, just says Flying Nun.
Yeah, Flying Nun. She became Sister Patril, which was a very big show in the 60s, and I watched it in the reruns, and she was a nun who could fly. She'd grab her habit and she'd fly, and she had a mother superior. And
sounds ridiculous.
It was absurd, but very cute. And then she went into obscurity. She went nowhere. And then she started making like Smokey and the Bandit movies with Burt Reynolds.
It was probably Burt Reynolds movies that I liked her in.
Yeah.
When I was 10 years old,
Sure.
I was already growing my my fangs.
Yeah, sure.
And anything that looked like a doll was good.
Sure, you wanted to pop that bubble, yeah. Then she did Norma Ray and won an Academy Award for it. And then the rest is history. She's, she just completely blew people's minds as to what she was capable of, because she was this all-American, beautiful girl from California. Mm-hmm. And turns out, Pamela Anderson could act. She wasn't quite that, but she was considered a dim-witted, perky-breasted, all-American jiggle queen. She was a bikini girl from the beach movies. Right. So she wasn't considered, Meryl Streep, but, she proved to be her equal, if not,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
I think we're out of time. We're over 2 hours, man.
We're over 2 hours. There we go.
Bashers.
And so it goes. Thanks.
I was good bashers. I like the way the bashers doesn't need oiling, or you don't need to dust it off. It just goes straight back into bashers.
Well, it's because we had a lot to say over the last couple of weeks. Shit's been going on, and we've been. And I can't, motherfuckers, cunts.
Anybody watching it, you should get, if you want to see more iBashers, it's on the iBashers channel. You should go look for that link right now.
Yeah.
If you're watching on the Yoshi and O'Malley channel, this is not regular content. I need to reiterate this all the time.
Yeah.
But and I'll delete it from my channel after we get off. So you want to see it again, or you want to rewind, you will find it over on. Copy the link now. Let's stick it right up here. Daniel Gutierrez, a member for 5 months. Ush, great to see you back. Thank you, man. I'll be really back very soon. I've been on this hiatus doing this shoot. There's the link, guys. That's over on the iBashers channel.
Get your adjectives ready, kids, because he's working hard on something really special for y'all.
Yeah, it should be good stuff, you know. I should really give this link. This is a better link. There we go. That's just for the channel in general. There you go.
Wow. And don't forget to go to his channel and go look at he's got like a couple of little previews. Eddie, you look like you're in a Tunisian jail. I think a Tunisian jail wouldn't look that nice.
No, I've got zero family photos here that my mom has. She's a long line of them around here. All of her grandchildren. I think children and grandchildren.
If you were in a Tunisian jail, I think you'd be covered in blood and you'd have people's arms in your hand fending off people who are trying to get at you. You'd be like,
I could be slightly wider, I think. There you go. See?
I know exactly where you are.
Family photos and stuff. All right, man. Good show.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to have you back. And Daniel, everybody's coming in with the super chats.
Thanks you,
guys. For the super chat. And thanks all the ladies. We love you. Thanks for coming on by. And we held on to most of
ladies in the crowd now. That's nice.
Thank you, Timmy, Mark Gerard, Patricia, Scott. Who do we got? JJ, Cheslina, the new girl, Mr. Bad Gas. I don't know if you got to this.
Where did Cheslina come from? I'm always curious.
I don't know.
The new girl.
Did you also just want to make sure you got this because it was early on and we were deep in discussion.
Okay.
Before we go. Sure. Yeah, it was the biggest one of the night, and it was Carolyn Martin. Did you get that one? This is not a watch channel, but stick around. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah,
by the beautiful Carolyn Martin. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Carolyn Martin. And all watch lady, you know you're our girls. And Tobster McDonkey, who's always a cunty little commenter of the right establishment, but we love him. Russell Crowe being canceled by corporate superpowers over random allegations because he speaks the truth. Obviously going on there as Russell Crowe. He's not Russell Crowe. It's not Russell Crowe. Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
I had a dream that many years ago, and I always say this to Paul, and this is very weird because I don't find him attractive, but I slept with Russell Crowe when he was good looking in a dream like 10 years ago. Like I had a full-on dream that I also had a dream that I slept with Angelina Jolie, and it was great.
Do you find it weird now when you see Russell Crowe pop up in your TV
Yes, screen? Because I always go, oh fuck, I slept with him. Because it was so real, you know, like Angelina Jolie is the same way. Like, and it wasn't like I was gay in the dream. I was totally into Angelina Jolie, but the Russell Crowe one was really detailed.
Oh God.
No, and I'm not going to get gross or anything, but it was so, no, not sexually detailed. Talking about like the apartment and the
really.
Yeah. So now every time I see Russell Crowe and how fat he is now, I'm going like, oh God, he was so much more beautiful when I slept with him.
He was always he was always a gorgeous. That's what I say to that. I don't know what the fuck happened to Russell Crowe, but I think he just kind of. I think he probably just went. You know what? I was a superstar for ages. I was a heartthrob for ages. I've made my money. I have a big fat family now in Australia, and I'm just gonna have barbecue and drink beer, make ribs on the barbie, shrimp on the barbie every night.
Right.
You know, and he's just huge. Fucking insanely fat.
Yeah, it's not. That's like bariatric. What's the word? Oh, not bariatric. That's is it bariatric? Is that the right word? When you have a gastric bypass, bariatric surgery. Yeah. Oh. I mean, he's that fat now where he needs to go get a lap band because he got so fat. But he was a very handsome guy back in the day, Russell Crowe. He was.
Daniel was asking about who needs a drink tomorrow. I might do it. I got a new laptop, so now I don't have the issues that I had before.
What happened?
Well, remember the last time we did watch Fashion Police, and I had to bow out because my computer was literally choking.
Oh, I thought it was your Wi-Fi. It was the actual computer.
No, it was the computer. I knew it was.
What was it? Is that the M1?
No, no. So I have a little shitty MacBook Air. It's so funny because, like, how many computers have I had? Like 1,000,
I don't know.
2,000,
2, 3,000. Yeah.
But like, I wind up with this shitty little MacBook Air. It's so funny. They used to always say like the shoe mender always has shitty shoes, and they used to say that the watch mender's watch was always broken. And I used to go along with that thing. Now that I know watchmakers, it's actually not true at all. But you know, the guy with the computers coming out was ass for years, had a crappy thing. Because all I needed it for was to back up my data.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I did that show with you guys and I had to like that out, unfortunately.
Isn't that funny?
I took care of that problem, so we're good now. So yes, I might do a Who Needs a Drink tomorrow. Depends. I'm going to Newgrange tomorrow.
Oh, wow. That should be
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been.
It's pretty special.
Sure.
I was telling all the lads last night and at the Tudor event, there's a lot of viewers there and so on. And yeah, they're like, really gonna go to Newgrange? I was like, I have to show the people that Stonehenge is meh.
Yeah,
Like
right.
everybody knows Stonehenge.
Right.
They don't know Newgrange. Newgrange is way cooler than Stonehenge and about the same age.
Yeah, it's probably older, right?
I have to do the Irish proud, you know?
No. I'm sure you do. I mean, it's also probably where like J.R.R. Tolkien got all his ideas for all the hobbits' homes and all that shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, Wicklow was probably there, you know.
Yeah.
Wicklow is just insane. I was in the valley there in Gledlock. Like all those old rocks with just moss, just complete green, like walls that are just green with old moss. And you're like, okay, if hobbits exist, they definitely live here. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you go to Johnny Fox's?
No, I can't go to Johnny Fox's anymore. It's not the same as it was.
Is it like going to? It's like going to.
It's all brightly lit, and it's none of the staff are Irish. There's no problem with that. That's fine. It's just, I mean, you're not feeling that Irish glow anymore. It's just, you know. So it goes says Newgrange is older. Newgrange is about 5,600 years old.
Yeah.
And mint condition as well. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
It was built yesterday. It's crazy.
So Johnny Fox's is like going to Harry's in Venice. It's like not even worth going to anymore.
Yeah. It's not the thing anyway that it used to be. I caught it at the end of its heyday.
I was there when I was a little boy, so I haven't been there in ages. That's where we got our Irish wolfhounds from, Wicklow. Sheila Seal Kennels in Ballykelly, Ballydunnigan.
Oh.
That was the name of the breeder my dad used to use for our wolfhounds in Wicklow. Sheila Seal. And he'd always have to stop at Johnny Fox's and see his cousin Harry.
Hey, look, in the old days, it was all dimly lit. And,
it
was gorgeous. Now it's not the same.
Oh, that's a shame.
So I'll skip that one.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, 499, 3000 BC, Stonehenge was a circular ditch wall. Iconic stones didn't come around for another 1,000 years. Meanwhile, Newgrange was already built, but 2,000 years before that. Yeah.
Crazy.
And also, Newgrange is kind of a clock because it marks out time, you know, the winter solstice and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got some horological connection there as well. So it's very, very cool. So
fuck you, Stonehenge.
Yeah, fuck you, Stonehenge.
That'd be a great name for an album. Fuck you, Stonehenge.
Stonehenge.
It's like Norman fucking Rockwell.
Right. You don't like Norman Rockwell?
No, that's the name of a Lana Del Rey album, Norman fucking Rockwell. It's a great title. Yeah. Wow. I love Norman Rockwell. Oh my God.
It's incredible.
I live with an illustrator. Imagine what I got like such a Norman Rockwell education on how great he is and how the establishment looked down on illustrators because they weren't painters, even though they were. Oh, I love Norman Rockwell. Oh my God. It's incredible. Some of the most incredible art I've ever seen in my life is Norman Rockwell. And I've been to the fucking Vatican, okay, people? I've been there. I saw it. I've been to Italy. been to Italia, and I've seen the Vatican where the Pope lives. There's a lot of
So
art there. Catholics have a lot of art.
So what I saw today was they filmed it, and it'll be on the show, but I might as well tell everyone. I saw the Caravaggio, The Taking of Christ.
Oh,
So here in Ireland, I mean, we have the National Art Gallery, and it's got beautiful art. There's Rembrandt in there, there's Renoir, and so and various other things. But we don't have the shit the Louvre has. We don't have, like, you know, the Met or the Uffizi in Florence, or like, we don't. We've got some cool shit, but we can't compare. We can't compete with these. You know. But we do have one piece that's really interesting, and that's The Taking of Christ by Caravaggio. Ireland owns a Caravaggio, if you can believe it, and it was a lost Caravaggio. It was lost for 200 years.
who got it? Who got it?
Well, what happened was it wound up in this little Jesuit center on Leeson Street, of all places, which isn't far from the National Art Gallery. And the curator at the time for the art gallery in Ireland was a guy called Sergio Benedetti. And he was asked along to check out some of the art they had in the center, just to see if any of it interested the gallery. They were obviously looking, the nuns were looking to make a little money to fund their center or whatever. So he checked out the stuff and he was like, yeah, okay, some interesting stuff, but nothing wow. And then they went, well, would you like a cup of tea while you're here? And they brought him into the kind of kitchen dining area. And above the dining table was this painting. And he goes, well, what's that? And they went, well, that's nothing. We think that's an old copy of some painting. And he took a few looks, and it was covered with grease and stuff from the cooking. And with further investigation, turned out to be the lost Caravaggio. It was The Taking of Christ. And it turned out that the cooking helped it, because all the grease and grime preserved all the colors. So when the experts stripped away all the grease, the colors are vibrant and bright and loud, like it was painted yesterday. And turned out to be that famous missing Caravaggio, and it's hanging in the National Art Gallery in Dublin. And every time I go to that gallery, it's pretty much the only painting I go to see.
Sure.
Although there is a Jack B. Yeats of William Butler, a painting of William Butler Yeats by Jack B. Yeats' brother, which is also very interesting. Yeah. And there's some other great pieces in there. They have a couple of Monets and stuff like that. But, that is the one to see, The Taking of Christ. It used to have a red rope in front of it, like just it with a red rope.
Like the Mona Lisa has.
This is our big piece. Like we've actually got a really fucking cool one in here. But now it's kind of like it's in with all the European Renaissance art and so on. But it's a very, very interesting picture. And in classic Caravaggio style, it's like a photograph. It's like he was there for the taking of Christ. It doesn't have that classic old stoic look of all the religious art from the time. It actually has a cinematic quality. So it's something to behold. And I got some amazing shots before the staff ran over to, there it is, before the staff ran over to me and stopped me using the tripod. And here's a little known fact. We were talking about movies. I'll just throw this in at the end. Gordon Willis, who filmed the Godfather movies, was inspired by Caravaggio, because Caravaggio would use dark light. Now, this is all blown out, so you can see all the detail. But when you see it in real life, this guard here, his steel, his metal armor, it's all super dark. Everything's super dark, and all the faces are kind of reaching out of the dark, the way they're catching the light. And Gordon Willis used that as inspiration for The Godfather, the way you see Brando kind of appearing out of the dark in that scene. So
was this restored?
It is fully restored, and it looks like it was painted yesterday. And it's in a room with art from the similar period. And I swear to God, it's like a totally different thing. You know what it looks like? It's like the difference when you're in the PC world or something. You're looking at big TV screens, and you're looking at all the QLED and the LED, and then you see the OLED. and you go, like the difference in the blacks. That's what it looks like. It's like that kind of difference. Yeah. So I'm gonna like make a whole little scene on this. That's all I filmed in the whole gallery today.
Well,
It was
hey,
like I was stuck at that thing, you know. So anyway, yeah. All right, great bashers, man. Good job.
Great bashers, guys.
Can you
Thanks,
not
everybody.
play the thing on the back?
The what?
Walking around. My man's watching the show on her phone and walking around in the background. So I'm hearing what I said 10 seconds ago. All right, I better go. Gotta go.
Thanks, everybody.
I might do a Who Needs a Drink tomorrow night. If that's the case, then I'll see you all then.
Who needs a drink? That guy.
Go over to iBashers, guys. Whatever it is, YouTube /iBashers. Subscribe there. That's where myself and Dirk just natter on about our stuff. Yeah.
And thanks, Timmy, for everything.
Thank you, Timmy, for all the help. And when I go off now, everybody will be shot over to Timmy's show. If you want to hear all about watches, that's where you'll hear it till the wee hours of the morning.
Because you love watches.
We all love watches. Just let it run and you'll go over there automatically. And I might even make an appearance myself at some point. Thanks, Dirk.
Thank you, Oisin. So great to see you. That's how I get some time for you. Finally, because you're so busy.
So busy. Good night, guys.
Good night, kids.